Meet Kuki, a guy whose day job is literally picking up garbage. Born with zero magic in his veins, he was basically a ghost to the girl he crushed on. The local elites treated him like dirt, mocking him daily. In a society where mana is everything, if you can't cast a spell, you're basically invisible. But right when the apocalypse knocked on the door, Kuki unlocked a completely broken ability. He can simulate training inside his own head for literal years, while barely a second ticks by in the real world. Armed with this mental time chamber, he stormed the academy and absolutely schooled the nobles who used to look down on him. It all started when the Great Mage dropped a bombshell on live TV, announcing that the world was on a strict timer. He broke the news in exactly 5 years. Humanity is going to get wiped off the map. Panic instantly swept through the streets as people realized this wasn't a drill, because the mage's unique skill is future sight, and the guy has a perfect track record. But just as the doom and gloom set in, he flipped the script, claiming he saw a sliver of hope. He pointed toward a lineup of mysterious figures, declaring the 7 saviors standing there were the only ones who could stop the end times. Gasps echoed through the crowd as the hoods came down. We're talking about the physically strongest tank in existence, standing next to the sharpest tactician alive. The squad even included the youngest S-class prodigy ever recorded in the history books. The Doomsday Prophecy was a nightmare, but suddenly survival felt possible. With this dream team assembled, despair turned into massive hype, shifting the entire global mood instantly. And amidst this cocktail of terror and adrenaline, one random guy's destiny started to shift. Our main character watches the broadcast on a jumbo screen, marking the true start of his legend. Fast forward 5 years to Tokyo, on the exact date the world was supposed to end. A reporter is out there hyping up the crowd, asking who they're betting on to save them. Meanwhile, a humble scavenger just keeps working, ignoring the buzz completely. Protagonist Ikuta Kuki thinks it's weird everyone treats the apocalypse like a block party. It feels way more like a festival than a funeral. Suddenly, a familiar face flashes on the screen. He instantly clocks her as Miki Murai. The footage shows her throwing hands like a boss, praised as the heavy hitter of the 7 saviors. It triggers a memory. Back when she was drafted as the right hand to number 7, a top-tier gig. Flashback to a younger Kuki buried in a library, grinding through stacks of books. But 2 girls nearby were roasting him, saying all that reading was pointless for a guy with 0 mana. That's when Miki stepped in, telling him to tune out the haters and reminding him the library was closing up. She hit him with that dazzling smile, swearing that if he never gave up on his dream, he could actually make it happen. Back in reality, seeing her on the big screen lights a fire under him. He spots a beat-up magic tome in the gutter and grabs it. He figures if he keeps grinding, maybe one day the magic will come. Suddenly, the book begins to glow with energy. But before he can react, 2 jerks show up, calling him monolith trash and laughing at his job. They look at him with pure disgust, sneering that a janitor should stick to garbage, not grimoires. One guy incinerates the book with a spell and beams a can right at Kuki's forehead, leaving him dazed. But then the sky turns pitch black, and massive crimson rifts tear open the heavens exactly like the mage predicted. Nightmare fuel spills out bizarre beasts, and colossal skeletons flood the streets, kicking off the apocalypse. In the middle of the panic, a holy light pierces the clouds, signaling the arrival of the 7 saviors. The ultimate defense squad touches down, locked and loaded to face the horde. Their leader glares at the monsters, while the civilians scream for them to unleash hell. The crowd was drunk on hope, begging the heroes to save their skins. One hero, looking overly cocky, tells everyone to chill, promising he'll wipe the floor with the enemy in a split second. An older veteran steps up, declaring it's time to flex humanity's true strength. Hero number 2 charges in, rocketing toward the beasts at Mach speed. He unleashes a massive energy nuke, and the spectators lose their minds. After that god-tier attack, everyone assumes the fight is over. But as the smoke dissipates, the monster is standing there without a scratch. The mood snaps as people spot one of the hero's lifeless bodies hitting the pavement. The camera pans to 3 girls cheering wildly for hero number 2, totally caught up in the hype. But the very next frame shows them drenched in crimson, those smiles frozen on their faces forever. The girl's face is a mask of pure horror, her brain unable to process the slaughter. The scene shifts to total defeat, with the saviors dropping like flies. Amidst the debris and flames, even the squad leader and the tank get absolutely wrecked. Our MC is paralyzed, eyes wide, struggling to grasp reality. Is this actually happening? Weren't the 7 saviors supposed to be invincible? Surrounded by chaos, he sprints through the inferno, screaming for his sister. He freezes for a second, scanning the area with sheer panic written all over his face. He finally spots her with number 7, but the hero says it's hopeless and they're bailing out. As a monster closes in, the so-called hero grabs the sister. He shoves her straight toward the beast, yelling that she's now human bait. Zero hesitation. Number 7 literally feeds his own teammate to the beast just to buy himself a few seconds. Kuki watches the betrayal, eyes wide, totally paralyzed by the cruelty. His brain snaps. He's screaming, demanding answers, but the so-called hero just smirks. The guy flexes his status, reminding everyone he's one of the elite 7 saviors. Then he drops the most toxic line imaginable, claiming his life is premium content compared to hers. He leaves her there to die. Collapsed on the dirt, his sister spots the approaching nightmare and begs Kuki to bail. But Kuki, he plants his feet firmly between her and death. He's roaring at this eldritch horror to back off. Even bleeding out, his sister looks at him like he's a titan. Because even now, he's standing his ground. Kuki stares down the abyss, mentally kicking himself for having 0 mana bars to spend. He shields her with his own body, screaming that he doesn't care if he gets deleted. He just begs the universe for a scrap of magic. Anything to save his sister. And boom, the universe answers. A glowing sigil ignites on his hand out of thin air. Power surges through him. He catches the monster's massive claw mid-swing like it's nothing. His sister, sprawled on the ground, can't process the visual. Kuki is just as shook, staring at his glowing hand, wondering where this cheat code came from. A disembodied voice echoes in his head, magic acquired. The tutorial is over. The truth unlocks soon. An insane energy floods his veins and suddenly the monsters freeze like the game just paused. Plot twist, it wasn't random. His sister triggered a forbidden grimoire stolen from the ministry. The book detonates with blinding light, and Kuki watches reality rewind. The world dissolves and reconstructs itself, taking him back exactly 5 years. Back to day 1. The day the apocalypse prophecy dropped. We see a younger Kuki in the crowd, listening to the announcement of humanity's doom. His eyes widen as the deja vu hits. He didn't just survive, he respawned in the past. Around him, the NPCs, the citizens, are cheering, looking up at the sky with 0 clue what's coming. Kuki hits the pavement, head spinning, trying to download the situation. He whips out his phone, and the date on the screen confirms it 5 years ago. He's hyperventilating. He actually traveled back in time. A random guy walks by chatting about the end of the world news like it's a weather report. His friend thinks it's clickbait, but the guy insists it's legit because the great mage said so. Someone asks the million-dollar question. Does this mean the 7 saviors are deploying? Suddenly the massive city screens light up with the hero roster, and the crowd loses their absolute minds. First up, Sakai Tetsu, the tank, the strongest human alive. Next is Jumansei Jiro, the billionaire tycoon who basically owns the planet. Then Igawa Himika, the underworld queen, lethal, feared, and iconic. Fourth is Kyogi Ranpo, a mana monster with infinite energy reserves. The 5th slot goes to Ashia K, the galaxy brain strategist, who knows every secret in the book. 6th is the prodigy Suzaki Irori, the youngest mage to ever do it. And finally the poster boy, Araki Leo. Looks cash talent, the guy is playing life on easy mode. The dream team is assembled. The hype in the crowd is suffocating. One guy screams that it's actually happening. People are partying, convinced this heroes are their salvation. But Kuki stands there like a ghost, realizing he's the only one with the spoilers. Flashbacks of the bad ending hit him, the screams, the fire, the betrayal. His pocket vibrates, snapping him back. It's his mom. He picks up, heart racing, and she drops a bomb. Miki just collapsed. Panic mode engaged. Cut to the massive city hospital exterior. Kuki bursts through the doors, breathless, sprinting to her room. His mom is already there, looking terrified. Miki is out cold on the bed. His mom turns to him, saying the diagnostics are clear. Doctors are baffled. Kuki realizes this is a new timeline event. It clicks, the forbidden spell she used in the future is exacting its price now. He needs answers. He rushes to the school library, his old sanctuary. He hunts down that ancient tome he read years ago, pulling it off the dusty shelf. He scans the pages. Confirmed. His sister burned her life force for that rewind spell. But the cure page, it's missing. Meanwhile, background characters, Washida and Kusano, are yapping about their fantasies of joining the saviors. Washida wants to be the top mage for the clout and the girls. Kusano shuts him down, arguing that number 7 is the real influencer with millions of stans. We see shots of the saviors on merchandise treated like idols. Kuki remembers the cringe reality 5 years ago. The world drank the Kool-Aid. They worshipped these frauds. But Kuki knows they are useless trash. If he does nothing, the game ends the same way. He refuses to let his sister's sacrifice be for nothing. It's time to rewrite the script. Right on cue, the tormentors track him down. Cornered in the library, stacks exactly where they knew he'd be lurking. Washida struts in, dripping with arrogance. Magic-obsessed loser, he sneers, snatching the tome right out of Kuki's grip. Still fantasizing about power you'll never have, Kusano chimes in, twisting the knife. Give it up, 0 mana trash. You're a hopeless case. A wicked glint sparks in their eyes. They glance toward the open window, cooking up a nasty little surprise for our boy. Washida grins, and it's pure nightmare fuel. Since you love magic so much, he purrs, how about a live demonstration? A crest flares to life on the bully's hand. Kuki's gut drops, he knows that glow. That's an active skill charging up. Get on your knees and thank us for letting you breathe, he roars. But Kuki, the guy doesn't even blink. Stone cold. Swoosh. Cookie sidesteps the strike with eerie precision. Washita freezes, totally rattled by the impossible dodge. What the hell? My gravity crush failed, he screams, veins popping. You should be face-planted on the floor, crippled. Kusano loses his cool. Useless, he spits, launching his jagged thorn magic. But Cookie weaves through the attack like he's dancing. You guys are moving in slow motion, Cookie murmurs. It hits him garbage tier magic from weaklings, can't touch him anymore. His physique feels upgraded, surcharged. Then the realization snaps into place. This is the mana inheritance from his sister's time reversal spell. A rune ignites on his palm, triggering a memory of her warning from the future. The bullies go ballistic, completely losing it. You awakened a skill behind our backs, they shriek. Cookie tunes out the noise, completely ghosting them. He's laser-focused, analyzing this game-changing power. Suddenly, a spectral grimoire materializes on the floorboards. They scoff, figuring it's some trash-tier luck ability. But then a disembodied voice cuts through the air. Target skills acquired and archived. Cookie's confused for a split second before bam, reality shatters into pixelated shards of light. He's warped to a different dimension. A mysterious lady steps forward. Welcome to the library, she says. This space, it's your power manifest. She bows elegantly. I am the skills librarian. Consider this your personal archive of destruction. She calls his name softly. Cookie snaps his head up, mind completely blown by this trippy turn of events. Is this actually my ability? He can barely process it. Scanning the room, his eyes lock onto a glowing mahogany bookshelf. Weirdly, it's empty except for 2 solitary volumes. Suddenly, the grimoires yeet themselves off the shelf. They hover right in his face. The librarian claps her hands. Tutorial mode initiated. Here, skills are just stories waiting to be read. Cookie grabs the floating tomes, one radiating toxic green, the other blood red. Flashback to Washita and Kusano flexing their powers. Cookie connects the dots instantly. The aura colors match perfectly. Wait, these are their moves, the librarian nods. Indeed. Any power you witness gets ripped and stored here for your collection. He's floored. Care to crack one open for a test drive, she asks, flashing a serene, knowing smile. Relax, she assures him. This acts as your mental palace. Time in the physical world is irrelevant here. Read at your leisure. Out there, the clock has stopped ticking completely. Those 2 are frozen mid-punch. But be warned, raw data consumption feels like your brain is being put through a blender. Cookie doesn't hesitate. Bring the pain. He grabs a book, leaving the librarian pleasantly surprised by his grit. This is heaven, Cookie thinks. Unlimited reading, unlimited power, I just hit the jackpot. He's already fantasizing about stacking these shelves and becoming a god-tier hunter. The librarian tries to interject about a storage cap, but he's too hyped to hear it. Taking a breath, he braces himself to download the magical data. Moments later, the woman checks in. Finished already, Cookie looks up, eyes blazing with electric blue energy. I've mastered them both. Snap back to reality. Cookie stands, facing his tormentors. The bullies are baffled by his zen attitude. Panic sets in as they realize their magic just fizzled out. Why isn't he bleeding? Cookie smirks. 0 seconds passed. A cobalt aura erupts around his hand, revealing the copied skill crest etched into his skin. It pulses with stolen power. He flicks his wrist, triggering the gravity skill. Boom! The bullies get ragdolled into the ceiling. Eyes icy. Cookie monologues. I used to envy your gifts, but deep down, I knew I was the better pilot for those powers. Watch how it's actually done. He cranks the dial to 100%, smashing them down with crushing G-force. Camera zooms in on Washita, pure terror, as the floor rushes up to meet his face. The guy actually wets his pants mid-air. Total embarrassment. Round 2, Cookie announces. Let's try the green one. Emerald energy swirls. Before they can splatter on the pavement, jagged vines burst forth, snagging them in mid-air bondage. Dangling like piñatas, they scream, curses. Don't get cocky, trash. Cookie just stares up at his handiwork. Damn, he thinks. This feels incredible. Finally, locking in the theft, Cookie tightens his grip, eyes blazing. That power, yeah, it belongs to him now. He triggers life drain, and their screams tear through the air. Cookie sneers a skill, like this is wasted on trash like them. He tilts his head back, eyes on the sky, locking onto a mission way bigger than this petty fight. Staring at his own hand, he whispers a vow to his sister. He'll take her mana, get jacked, and save everyone. Doing what those fake saviors never could. Then tap tap. A casual hey hey breaks his focus. Or does it? It's Araki Leo rolling up with a mocking smirk, asking who exactly Cookie is calling a fake. Cookie freezes. It's number 7 Araki Leo. The guy claims he just followed the noise, acting innocent. Then he drops the bomb, asking if Cookie is an anti-fan while flashing his phone. Cookie's face is live on stream. Araki shoves the screen closer, demanding an apology for the camera. Cookie stone. Cold. He doesn't even blink. He doubles down he's not sorry because the saviors failed the world. Smash cut to the nightmare memory. Miki, being used as a human shield. Cookie accuses Leo of only hurting people, and Leo's playful mask cracks. Pure rage loads in Leo's eyes. Cookie snaps, screaming right in his face that he is a fraud, not a hero. Dead silence. They lock eyes, tension thick enough to cut, but the protagonist starts feeling the heat. The killing intent radiating off Araki is suffocating. It's straight up terrifying. You want smoke. Araki calls him pathetic as golden energy erupts. Kuki instantly preps his copy skill to steal that power. The hero is disgusted by the kid's nerve. Kuki's knees buckle under the sheer weight of that golden aura. Stunned by the insane pressure of a savior, Araki raises a hand, ready to delete him from existence. Suddenly, fangirl screeching, two girls spot Araki and lose their absolute minds. They want autographs, totally oblivious to the murder vibe. Araki flinches, visibly annoyed by the interruption. What a drag. He whispers to Kuki that he got lucky today, but there won't be a next time. Instant switch up. Araki slaps on a dazzling fake smile and turns to greet his adoring public. Kuki exhales shaken. He knows he would have been cooked if that fight actually went down. But no rest for the wicked. High-level magic incoming. A fireball whizzes past his ear, singeing the air. He scrambles back in shock. Distant shouting, "Sorry, miscalculation, just a training accident." The caster rushes over its Kanai Momo. Kuki recognizes her immediately. She's special class, basically a walking nuke. Certified mages are the elite drafted every 4 years, and the acceptance rate is under 1%. Brutal. Cut to them, walking together, and she gives him props for handling the bullies. She pauses, though remembering Akuta had 0 mana before. Kuki nods, playing it cool. He claims his latent ability finally decided to wake up. Momo grins, she hated those jerks anyway. Kuki starts thinking she might actually be one of the good ones. Could she be an ally? He risks it and asks her honest opinion on the 7 saviors. Her eyes light up. They're her idols. She wants to be the strongest mage just like them. Kuki shuts down. She won't get it. Telling her the truth is off the table. Suddenly, Momo suggests a power checkup. Kuki blinks. Actually getting an official reading hadn't crossed his mind. Cut to the special training room. It looks like a gym but way higher tech. Momo proudly shows off the special class rig. It's not just a meter, it's a combat simulator. You fight a hollow monster and it calculates your stats in real time. Kuki balls his fists. If he gets that certified badge, people have to listen. He needs that credibility. Maybe then the world will believe his story. Boom, a teacher appears, startling Momo. He busts them. Restricted area. Special class students only. Kuki steps up. Put me in the special advancement class. The teacher pauses, remembering Akuta was dead last. From bottom of the barrel to this, Kuki doubles down. I'm taking the certified exam in 1 month. Momo loves the hype. She begs the teach to let it slide so she can test her levels too. Since the star student asked, he sighs and approves. System booting up. The room shifts into a hyper-realistic forest replica. Momo calls out from the control booth asking for the difficulty setting. The instructor clocks the threat at rank E. A tiny yellow critter pops up, and she explains that this spar will test their limits. Momo's smirking like she owns the place, saying she's up first as she channels blazing heat into her palm. She unleashes a massive inferno, swallowing the little beast whole. But the smoke clears and the thing walks out, totally unscathed, leaving Momo stunned. Suddenly, the critter morphs, blowing up into a colossal nightmare, revealing itself as a rank A threat. Momo screams at the teach, but he admits the simulation settings are glitched to high level. Instead of running, she gets hyped. Taking down this beast proves she's top tier. But the giant isn't waiting, spitting a barrage of fireballs straight at them. The teacher starts losing it, screaming that a rank A is a death sentence for students. The beast rushes in, landing a brutal swipe that smashes Momo into the dirt. Pinned down, she screams for the instructor to pull the plug and trigger the emergency exit. He's jamming buttons, but the safety overrides are dead. She's hurt, paralyzed by fear, as the monster bellows, winding up for the kill. Kuki steps in. Dropping fax escape means slaying the boss. Just like a dungeon raid, the titan lunges, razor-sharp claws aiming for the kill. Momo freezes, realizing she's too slow to dodge. Out of nowhere, Kuki tackles her to safety. He defies physics, hovering mid-air with his gravity skill, checking if she's good. She stares at the brown crest on his hand, realizing he's a gravity manipulator. The beast isn't done winding up for round 2. Floating calmly, Kuki says they just gotta drop the enemy, which sounds insane to Momo. Cut to Kuki's mindscape, the librarian is waiting. She's got a lesson plan, a brand new way to weaponize his abilities. He can dual-wield skills like Magic Edition. Back in the fray, Momo screams that gravity alone won't scratch this thing. Kuki smirks. Who said that's all I got, and flashes the other crests, leaving her stunned. He fuses gravity and vine magic, manifesting a jagged thorny whip. He dashes straight at the titan, power surging. The strike lands dead center, making the giant shriek in agony. Grunting with effort, Kuki unleashes the finisher, showing them how a pro handles business. The thorn whip snaps forward, binding the monster instantly. The beast glitches out, pixelating into dust. Game over. Back in the real world, Kuki and Momo spawn in the room, and he wipes his brow, admitting that drained him. Momo's speechless brain, unable to process. that he one-shotted a rank A. He blinks gassed but victorious. Meanwhile, some creep is spying through the door, checking if they're corpses yet. Turns out he hacked the system, betting Cookie would get crushed by the boss. He watches the simulation dissolve in horror, panic setting in as they emerge alive. The prof sprints over, frantically checking their vitals. Momo points at Ikuta. He ended it with one hit. The scoreboard lights up, showing Momo's stats are solid, but Cookie's straight-up error. The prof is floored. Never seeing a glitch like that. Cookie zeroes in on the spy at the door, asking the kid if he rigged the game. Momo goes ballistic, grabbing the kid by the collar, screaming that he nearly murdered them. The kid denies it, but Cookie steps up, demanding he fix the rig. The bully freezes, spotting the skill crest on Cookie's hand. Realizing he's outmatched, he folds. He starts frantic repairs on the console. But Cookie isn't just watching his eye flares with mana, copying the kid's ability. Electronic hacking acquired, adding a new tome to his mental library. He grins. That skill is going to be handy. The teacher snatches the hacker, hauling him off for a serious chat with the principal. He drags the kid away, threatening that if evidence pops up, he's expelled. The teacher glances back, sensing tension. Cookie plays dumb, rubbing his neck as he gives Momo an awkward excuse. Cut to the next scene. The board says 30 days to the mage exam. The teacher introduces the new guy to the elite special advancement class. Our MC Bo's keeping it low-key. Dropping his name, Ikuta Cookie, whispers break out instantly, and one girl throws her hand up. She hits him with the ultimate question, which savior is the absolute goat in his eyes. Cookie freezes, completely caught off guard. The rest of the class starts buzzing, claiming every mage dreams of being just like the 7 saviors. These guys aren't just heroes, they're global icons with a cult following. But Cookie's face drops, turning stone cold as he dwells on the grim reality behind these so-called idols. He finally snaps back, declaring he doesn't look up to a single one of them, haunted by the memory of a savior's true dark nature. Then he drops a bombshell that sucks the air out of the room. He claims the world is straight up doomed if they leave it in the hands of the saviors. He doubles down, insisting that talented people like the students in this room can't just stand on the sidelines waiting to be saved. Momo's eyes go wide, stunned to hear him suggest that they, the students, are the ones who can stop the apocalypse. With blazing intensity, he announces he needs everyone to step up and fight, vowing that he's going to level up his own power. Cookie swears he'll surpass every last one of them to save a world teetering on the edge. But of course, there's always that one student recording the whole meltdown on their phone. They upload the clip instantly, captioning it "check out this lunatic," and it blows up. The video goes viral in seconds, sparking a massive wave of backlash with hashtags worshipping the 7 saviors trending worldwide. The internet becomes a war zone of posts, defending the heroes and proving just how obsessed society is with them. From high schoolers to salarymen, everyone sees Cookie's passionate speech and laughs it off like a bad joke. The clip spreads so far and wide that it lands on the screens of the elite, including the legendary Jumanji Seijiro. Smash cut to the 7 saviors themselves, huddled around a screen watching Cookie's viral rant. Back at school, the professor announces the exam is coming up in a month, telling everyone to get their act together. But the vibe shifts. The second Cookie walks in, his mere presence leaves the other students shook. The professor lingers in the hallway, looking deep in thought. It makes no sense. Cookie had 0 mana yesterday. He gets on the phone. Reporting a glitch in the Matrix, the boy's mana is suddenly off the charts and his political views are radical. He explains that Cookie is spreading the dangerous narrative, that even the 7 saviors aren't enough to save humanity. On the other end, Jumanji Seijiro listens to the intel, and surprisingly gives the green light for Cookie to take the certification exam. After hanging up, Jumanji pivots to a shadowy figure nearby, asking for his hot take. It's none other than the #1 ranked mage Sagai Tetsu watching the chaos with pure arrogance. Tetsu shuts his eyes, looking totally unimpressed. He couldn't care less about the drama. He stands up, dismissing the whole thing, saying he has 0 interest in whatever ideologies people are spewing. As he strolls out, a trail of ice flash freezes the furniture behind him, a casual flex of his terrifying power. Jumanji Seijiro, the #2, just smirks, noting that Tetsu is as cold-hearted as his magic. Meanwhile, Cookie lets out a heavy sigh, realizing he might have cooked himself by talking too much. He slumps onto a bench alone, knowing he spoke his truth, but dreading the backlash. It gets worse. He checks his phone and sees the rumors are already spreading through the school like wildfire. He thinks back to before his time regression, remembering how he used to fanboy over the heroes too, but now he's just the campus weirdo. Suddenly, a fireball whizzes past his face. A glorious jump scare that snaps him out of his thoughts. A female voice calls out, asking why he's looking so depressed. It's Kanai Momo, grinning from ear to ear, telling him to drop the formalities and just call her Momo. She plops down next to him, brimming with energy, admitting she thinks he's actually pretty cool for getting strong and roasting the heroes. Momo adds that his speech was a wake-up call. She realizes they need to get stronger on their own terms. She muses that, honestly, nobody knows for sure if the world is actually ending. But Kuki cuts her off, eyes locking onto hers with deadly seriousness, confirming that yes, the apocalypse is 100% real. He explains that to get people to listen, he needs that mage certification, so they'll actually trust his word. Momo beams at him, seeming to vibe with his mission completely. Looking determined, she tells him he has no choice but to ace that exam. He cracks a smile and thanks her, promising to treat her to a bowl of ramen. She instantly holds up 2 fingers, make that 2 bowls. The scene shifts abruptly, taking us to the entrance of a massive medical center. Inside a quiet room, a girl named Miki Murai lies unconscious in a hospital bed. Kuki stands by her side, whispering to his sister that he's taking the exam specifically to save her. He clenches his fist, the weight of the world on his shoulders. This is his only shot. 1 month later, we cut to the grand auditorium of the Ministry of Magic. The tension is palpable as the exam is about to start. The other candidates start gossiping. The second Kuki walks through the door. They recognize him as the viral lunatic, wondering why he's even bothering with the mage exam. Suddenly, a hand taps his shoulder, making him jump. It's Momo, flashing a huge thumbs up, telling him to chill out and just do his thing. Kuki smiles back, feeling the anxiety melt away thanks to his new ally. But a split second later, his face hardens, fists clenching as he locks in. It's game time. Inside the classroom, the written test kicks off. With dozens of students sweating over their papers, Momo looks breezy, answering questions like she wrote the textbook. But Kuki, he shoots a glance at the proctor's computer, and you can see the gears turning. He's cooking up a bold strategy. It's all or nothing. A data-woven magic circle flares to life in his palm as he triggers his cyber-hacking skill. He shreds through the exam's firewalls. Moments later, the hall is buzzing with anxiety as students glue their eyes to the leaderboard. Momo's jaw basically hits the floor. She's screaming, calling the score absolutely insane. Turns out Kuki snagged 3rd place. By using his ability to swipe the answer key, Momo is spiraling about her own rank, yelling about how totally wrecked she is, and how she's doomed. But Kuki flashes a confident grin, promising her he knows she's gonna make the cut, so no sweat. He explains the first round was just a filter to toss out the trash mobs. The real game starts now. We cut to a quick montage showing Kuki spent the last month grinding his stats. Like a maniac, he drilled his containment skills until they were second nature. 0 issues. That's why he's hyped to finally unleash that secret technique he busted his back for. The scene shifts, revealing the survivors huddled in the center of a stark white void. The instructor drops the bomb. Phase 2 is a survival deathmatch. Momo is hyped, they're squatted up. She's relieved they're together. It's announced that a virtual arena is booting up. If you can't fight, you're toast. Every KO nets you points. Only the top 10 scorers standing after the time limit move on. The pro also warns that even with a 3rd stage, this is where the herd gets thinned. Kuki locks in, realizing the odds are slim, only 10 people are making it out. The instructor snaps his fingers, setting the clock for a tight 15 minutes. Suddenly, the world glitches and morphs around Kuki, leaving him totally stunned. He spawns into a dense forest, and just like that, the 2nd stage is live. Momo doesn't waste a second yelling a quick brr before diving in. She charges up her ult, unleashing a chaotic barrage of 1,000 fireballs. Some poor extra gets caught dead center of the blast. 0 chance of survival. The system blares an elimination notice. That participant is history. Momo is popping off over her point, and Kuki notes she has absolutely 0 chill in a fight. But then 3 guys circle him looking for an easy frag. Kuki saw this coming a mile away. They all pegged him as the weak link. The first guy shoots a sticky blue energy blob at our boy. Direct hit, nope. The attacker freezes, realizing something is way off. Kuki was faster. He sidestepped it like it was nothing, leaving the dude shook. Another goon tries to blind him with a smokescreen, but the spell fizzles out completely, leaving her confused by the massive mana gap between them. Realizing magic is a bust, the last guy activates Iron Skin and rushes in to throw hands. Kuki just watches him charge unbothered. He catches the punch with one hand, casual as you please, totally shutting down the strike. Kuki mentally notes that Sticky Shot, Smokescreen, and Iron Skin are actually pretty solid kits. He thanks the trio for the free demo and winds up to clap back. Green energy surges from his hand as our hero triggers a copied skill, summoning a grotesque thorn monster, which shreds the bullies without mercy. The system pings triple elimination, and Kuki vibes on the success of his new move. Up in the booth, Jimon, Sejiro, and the prof are sweating over his abnormal mana levels. Sejiro smirks, betting no one can even touch the kid. Then boom, rank 7 hero Araki Leo drops into the lobby, looking incredibly smug. A new patch note drops mid-combat, confusing Kuki. The rule: anyone who lands a hit on Araki, Leo gets an instant pass. The prof explains. Araki requested this, just to farm content for his YouTube channel. Araki spreads his arms, daring the lobby to come get some right then and there. But let's be real, he just sees them as props for his highlight reel and view count. The students see a golden ticket and rush him like a zombie horde. Araki sighs about the burden of fame, but braces for impact. With a pulse of energy, Araki blows the mob back, taunting that they're too slow. Then he spots Cookie in the back. His face drops. He recognizes that face from somewhere. It hits him that viral clip that broke the internet where Cookie was live streaming to the world. In that video, our hero was screaming his lungs out, exposing them as fake heroes. Back in the arena, it's on. Cookie thought tanking that hit with his thorns was a bright idea. Big mistake. He flips the script, deciding it's time to play judge, jury, and executioner himself. The aura exploding off him is so heavy nobody else can even breathe near them. Araki snaps, screaming that he is sick of dealing with trash. Who thinks they're top dog? He demands, launching an all-out assault to prove his point. His energy blade shreds right through Cookie's defense like paper drawing blood. Watching him bleed, guilt hits Momo like a truck. Blaming herself for dragging bystanders into her mess, she steps up to face the so-called hero. Isn't this a bit extreme for a test, she asks. Araki doesn't give a damn. He goes straight for the kill. Don't lecture me, loser. Battered and bruised, she questions if this psychopath is really a hero while charging up a fire blast. The hero just laughs, calling her flames a cheap party trick. She is wide open. Momo screams as the energy blast catches her dead center. The impact launches her through the air like a rag doll. She hits the pavement hard. But wait, Cookie is watching this all unfold in his mind's eye. That was a premonition of the bad ending. Seeing his friend about to get wrecked, he clenches his fist until his knuckles turn white. Pure rage detonates from his body. Araki is still running his mouth, calling her skill garbage and vowing to silence witnesses. He deletes anyone who sees his true colors. Broken and beaten, Momo still tries to scrape herself off the floor to fight. But Cookie blitzes him, fusing smokescreen with his thorns. Araki freezes, totally blindsided. Where did this scrub get this much mana? Dark smoke starts leaking from Cookie's palm like a curse. He is locking in a new ult. He pulls the trigger, and a thick fog drowns the entire battlefield. Araki is completely boxed in. He assumes it is just a distraction and scans the area, trying to spot the angle. Too late. Thorns erupt from the mist, slicing his cheek. Cookie points a finger right at the hero. First blood is mine. From the ground, Momo watches in awe. He has already mastered a skill he literally just learned. She realizes Cookie's potential is basically infinite as he gears up for round 2. Araki loses it. Do you know how much my face is insured for? He screams, furious that a nobody dared to scratch his moneymaker. You're dead meat, kid. A dark rift tears open in the sky. This guy has a summoning skill. A massive tiger, woven from pure lightning, crackles into existence. Meet Fuma, the mythical beast. Araki is not holding back anymore. Cookie stares in horror. The power gap is just unfair. Meanwhile, Momo is in deep trouble too. She is facing down her own nightmare. Araki smirks, bragging that his summoner class is super rare. He has total control over the three-eyed beast, claiming his power level is S-class, maybe even God tier. Time to see what a real elite ability looks like, he sneers. The rarest power on the server. Cookie screams, throwing up a guard, but the attack trucks him. Blood sprays everywhere. The force is absolutely insane, launching him backward instantly. He is wrecked. Araki actually looks impressed. Surprised you lived through that. But the next one, game over. The lightning beast winds up for the fatality while Cookie's HP hits critical. Momo screams her lungs out, begging him to run. But Cookie knows he is cooked. Warning, life in danger. Suddenly, his eyes flash blue. The system activates. Time freezes. He is pulled into a digital mind space, and the librarian manifests. Use bind, she suggests. Flashback to 3 weeks ago, Cookie looking totally confused about the mechanics. She breaks it down. You've been doing simple addition. It is time to start multiplying. It clicks. He never thought about stacking buffs like that before. Instead of 1 plus 1, he can multiply powers to create a nuke. He has finally got the cheat code. The path to OP status is clear. She warns him it is dangerous, but he shuts her down. I'm doing it. No hesitation. He has to level up right now or he dies. She loves that hunger in his eyes. Smirking, she lays out the blueprint. Read 2 skill books simultaneously, then fuse them. Back in the present, Cookie locks in. He processes the data instantly. It is crafting time. He grabs gravity manipulation and cross arts within his mental library and smashes them together. Time to level up. He attempts to merge gravity manipulation with spikes, aiming to craft a completely broken new ability, but nothing happens. Frustrated, he screams that it's a total bust. The librarian steps in, dropping a harsh reality check. Dual-wielding 2 skills at once is already superhuman, but fusing them to engineer a brand new spell, that is next-level difficulty. She shuts him down, warning that he's trespassing into the domain of gods. Cut to the present. Exam day. The librarian watches from the sidelines as Cookie panics. 3 weeks of grinding, and he's got 0 results. If he flops now, he knows Araki won't hesitate to end him and poor Momo. Suddenly, Momo's useless skill flashes in his mind, the same one Araki trashed. He recalls the memory of her screaming, taking a heavy hit. But Cookie flips the script. Her skill isn't weak. It's lethal because of its versatility. A surge of adrenaline kicks in. His heart feels like it's literally engulfed in flames. A vision manifests two grimoires, one glowing with an intense crimson light. It finally clicks. He knows exactly what to do. This is it, he declares. Back in reality, a massive shockwave of red aura erupts from Cookie's body. He dumps all that energy at once, catching his opponent's summon completely off guard. Araki freezes, eyes wide, unable to comprehend how Cookie still has that much juice left in the tank. Momo beams hope returning to her face. Cookie locks in, ready to unload everything with his bind skill. Smirking with newfound confidence, he raises a hand, levitating jagged rocks into the air. He's done it successfully, fusing gravity control with the fireball skill. With a savage grin, Cookie drops the name of his ultimate move, Meteor Shower. Araki is shook, staring up in horror at the flaming boulders filling the sky. He loses his cool, screaming for his beast. Fuma, obliterate those meteors right now. The monster reacts instantly, blasting a blue energy laser to intercept the attack. Fuma snipes the first rock, triggering a blinding explosion of fire and light. But Cookie, he's just getting started. With a casual flick of his wrist, he sends the rest of the flaming payload raining down on the beast, triggering a chain reaction of massive blasts. A final earth-shattering explosion swallows the arena in dust and smoke. Araki stares at Fuma, unable to process that his summon just got wrecked. Through the haze, Cookie stands tall, mastering the recoil of his new power. Up in the stands, a spectator complains that this duel is dragging on way too long. The teacher turns to Master Sage Tetsu, nervous about the student's safety. They squint at two silhouettes in the smog, totally baffled. The camera pans, revealing Miki Mirai watching the showdown from the shadows. The smoke clears, showing a gasping Araki and his mighty Fuma face planted on the floor. Cookie hits him with the taunt, proving the fireball skill isn't trash, it's a weapon of mass destruction. Momo blushes hard. Stunned by Cookie's sudden alpha energy, the protagonist doubles down, calling Araki a fraud who relies solely on raw stats. He's not strong, he's just carried by his kit. Cookie calls him the real garbage for stepping on everyone else. Araki snaps, shrieking that it's a lie. He insists he's built different, that he is the literal chosen one. Cookie claps back, that chosen ones don't exist. But Araki calls him an idiot, grinning as he insists destiny is real. Flashback to a 6-year-old Araki tearing into a steak dinner. He's sitting at a lavish table with his parents. When his mom pulls him aside, she brainwashes him, saying he's a superior being entitled to everything. His dad chimes in, calling everyone else worthless NPCs. We see little Araki stomping on another kid, claiming the playground belongs to him. He realized early on he could do whatever he wanted because everyone else was beneath him. Being special gave him a free pass to terrorize other children. Years later, he unlocks his ability and summons Fuma for the first time. Schoolgirls instantly simp over him, hyping him up for having such a rare talent. It fed his ego, confirming his chosen one status as he orders Fuma to flex. The beast strikes a goofy pose, looking less like a monster and more like a buff kitten. Araki loves it, amused that a giant kaiju obeys his every whim. With his talent and silver spoon life, he believes the world is his personal buffet. Back in the present, Araki rants that he has it all. Lineage clout, girls and broken skills. To top it off, he flexes his wallet, pulling out a ridiculously expensive potion. In the distance, the students are confused, thinking Cookie had this in the bag. Without hesitation, Araki chugs the potion, right in Cookie's face. He explains this isn't some common drop, it's a super rare item. Smirking, he reveals the cheat code total HP recovery plus a double buff to his magic power. He's literally paying to win. That item was totally glitched. Cookie stands there paralyzed, that boost shouldn't be possible. Araki starts bragging, claiming that with double the power, his beast mode is about to go off the charts. Fuma lets out a deafening roar, wrapped in a blinding supercharged blue aura. Our MC is completely frozen, overwhelmed by that raw energy. The villain mocks him, laughing and asking if Cookie has any fight left in him. Flashing a creepy grin, he warns that this is the absolute end of the road. Momo is losing it on the sidelines, screaming her friend's name in desperation. Araki barks the order at Fuma, commanding the beast to rip him to shreds. But then, plot twist, the monster just stands stone cold still. Turning away, Cookie locks in with a steely gaze, refusing to show a single ounce of fear. Araki starts losing his cool, demanding to know why the beast is glitching out. He literally tries to kick the creature, screaming that it's just a dog and needs to heal. But Fuma roars right back in his face, sending Araki into full panic mode. He's malfunctioning. His skill shouldn't allow this rebellion. That's when Cookie drops the bomb, summoning a floating grimoire. Araki is shook, wondering if this is some cheap magic trick. The MC breaks it down when two tamers try to control the same beast. Fuma runs a vibe check. It obeys the one, with the genuine friendship bond. It clicks for Araki. He sneers, realizing it's a copycat ability. Desperate, Araki screams that he's owned Fuma way longer and demands obedience. But Cookie hits him with the hard truth, revealing that the beast never actually trusted him. Araki is stunned while Cookie explains the lack of connection. We get a quick flashback of Cookie analyzing Fuma, spotting the catch. Cookie twists the knife, saying, Araki's toxic attitude made the beast switch sides. Fuma's eye flares up with intensity, proving it has chosen a new master. Araki is clueless as the beast leaps over and lands perfectly, right beside Cookie. The protagonist explains that connecting with the beast revealed just how trash Araki really is. Cookie declares that Fuma is a living being who deserves a better life. Outraged by the betrayal, Araki screams for the beast to quit playing and come back. But Cookie reminds him thanks to that potion, Fuma's mana is doubled. The beast charges up a massive energy nuke in its mouth, ready to unleash everything. The beam hits Araki dead on, making him scream in agony from the insane impact. It's brutal, the attack literally shreds Araki's body in multiple ways. Wrecked on the floor, he refuses to believe he lost to a nobody like Cookie. The MC steps up, eyes burning, and orders him to apologize to his sister. Araki plays dumb, asking what the hell he's talking about. With a glowing crest on his hand, Cookie repeats the demand with force. Out of patience, he grabs Araki's skull and slams it hard into the dirt. The system notification pops up. A participant has been eliminated due to inability to fight. Momo watches the whole thing jaw on the floor. The crowd is stunned into silence, wondering if this is actually real life. It finally sinks in. Cookie, the dead last ranker, just took out number 7. Cut to the hospital. Cookie wakes up groggy and disoriented. Suddenly, Kanai Momo is right there looking super worried. She explains she was out cold for a week too, due to severe mana burnout. She grips his hand tight, insisting that she's the one who owes him. Blushing hard, she thanks him for blocking Araki's lethal shot. Cookie is confused by the affection, but then panic sets in. He remembers the exam and asks for the results. She flashes a winning smile. They both pass the test. He manages a weak smile, relieved for her, but internally he's beating himself up. He assumes passing out means he failed. He clutches the sheets in anger, feeling weak and useless, unable to change anything with his power. He congratulates her, but Momo looks at him weird, confused why he's acting like he's out. She hypes him up, revealing the big news he passed too. Smash cut to the Ultra Lux Academy entrance. Cookie knows the real grind starts now, but gets a massive shock. Somehow, he ended up ranked number 1 in the class. The whispers start immediately. Students are doubting if he can actually save the world. Cookie realizes that beating a savior has made everyone lose faith in the system. That's when Sagai Tetsu, the world's top savior, enters the chat. The students can literally feel his insane aura. The crowd keeps trash-talking, betting he's a wash. Big mistake. One word from Tetsu and boom, a shockwave of blue energy shuts them down. Massive jagged ice spikes erupt from the floor, instantly flexing his absolute god-tier power for everyone to see. Cookie is floored, staring wide-eyed at how that suffocating mana pressure silenced the entire room in a heartbeat. Tetsu glares at the students, dropping the hard truth: their fancy words mean nothing against the horrors waiting below. He breaks it down. Down in those pits, monsters are starving, and your precious mana is just a snack to them. His expression turns icy serious. Getting stronger isn't a hobby, it's the only way to survive. He wraps up with a brutal ultimatum. A certified mage who stays weak deserves to die. The squad looks up, completely rattled by the Rex Titer, sheer dominance of the number 1 hero. Smash cut to a quiet playground, letting the tension breathe for a second. Momo is totally fangirling over meeting her idol, while Cookie just doesn't get the hype. Then she drops the lore. Tetsu is the reason she's here. He inspired her to chase the mage life. Flashback time, we see a tiny version of Momo, sobbing alone in a pitch-black abyss. Suddenly, 2 red-eyed nightmares emerge from the shadows, growling. One beast lunges jaws wide, ready to tear the helpless kid apart. Panicked little Momo curls into a ball, screaming and waiting for the end. But crack. A massive wall of ice slams down, blocking the bite. A calm voice cuts through the fear. Stop crying. It's Sage Tetsu, radiating power, saving her life with 0 seconds to spare. He looks down and drops a core memory. Get strong, kid, and you'll never have to cry again. Back in the present, she admits that's the moment she vowed to become a shield for others. Cookie listens, cracking a small grin, totally vibing with his friend's heart. Then she flips the script and asks why he decided to suit up as a mage. His eyes go dark and determined. My goal, I'm just here to stop the apocalypse. Momo pauses, flashing back to his shade about the 7 saviors failing. The gears start turning in her head. She leans in close and asks point blank, did you come from the future? But then she laughs, waving it off. Just kidding, you just talk like a total know-it-all. But Cookie isn't laughing, his whole body is shaking. He drops the bombshell, I've already lived the next 5 years. Momo freezes, thinking it's a prank, remembering he was supposed to be dead in that timeline. Don't laugh, he pleads. Listen closely. Seeing the terror in his eyes, she realizes this isn't a joke. The world is actually going to end. He confirms her worst nightmare, with a grim nod, and the air gets heavy. She's shook, realizing that even the legendary number 1 can't stop Doomsday. We get a flash of the bad timeline. Ashiake, dead heroes broken. Even Sage Tetsu, the strongest of them all, lies defeated in the dirt. Cookie explains the harsh reality. He couldn't solo it. Nobody could. It was an impossible fight. Clenching his fist, he insists that raw power isn't enough, everyone needs to fight as one. Momo whispers the word, allies. She stares at him, a mix of shock and respect. He confesses she's the first person he's told his first true ally. Blushing with a sincere smile, she thanks him for the trust. But then the logic hits her. Why not blast this to everyone? More people would believe him, right? Cookie sighs. Regression is ancient magic. Most people think it's a myth. Plus, if this secret leaks, his sister becomes a massive target. Momo grasps the stakes immediately and asks for the game plan. Cookie tightens his fist again. We level up. That's why I'm here. Scene transition. The duo is walking through a park, geared up and ready for the grind. Narrator voice kicks in. Cookie and Momo got drafted to the same squad, officially starting their mage careers. The team stands at the edge of a massive abyss, prepping for their first dungeon run. A veteran grins, asking if it's the rookie's first drop. Momo is practically vibrating with excitement. Cookie's mind is racing. He's done simulations, but he's never faced real flesh and blood monsters. His face hardens. This is his first real battle in this timeline. The vets tell them to chill. It's just a beginner dungeon. Just stay back and watch, they say. The pair nods, nervous energy buzzing, and they brace for the descent. No time to waste. A senior shouts, let's move, and they jump. The whole squad slides down the cave walls, diving into the mission. We learn the protocol. Noobs always shadow the seniors in low-level pits. The pros handle the heavy lifting, while the rookies soak up XP just by watching. Suddenly, one of the guys starts losing his cool. Spotting a horde of beasts thundering toward them, he barks orders at the greenhorns to intercept the stragglers breaking from the pack. Zero hesitation, Cookie and Momo drop into battle stances locked and loaded for their debut skirmish. Cookie flexes his ability, ripping thorny vines from the earth that instantly snare a monster in a jagged chokehold. Target immobilized. Momo charges up a blazing fireball to secure the kill. The veteran nods at the rookie's grit, but Cookie, he claims his tank is still full. Smirking, the pro tells him to chill out, slow and steady wins the race. But our protagonist is buzzing with adrenaline, and demands they witness his next move. He screams, watch this, and fuses his thorns with Momo's flames, triggering a massive area of effect explosion. Momo cheers for the insane combo, leaving the veterans with their jaws on the floor. It's total overkill. Suddenly, a surge of mana floods Cookie's veins, granting him the mage class. But instead of celebrating, he grinds his teeth in frustration. Realizing these C-rank mobs drop practically 0 XP, he needs bigger game. The scene snaps back to the surface world. As Cookie hauls himself out of the dungeon, the portal seals shut behind them. Momo is hyping up their survival, just thrilled to breathe fresh air again. The vet checks in on the vibe, and she admits she was shaking in her boots, but glad they made it out in one piece. Then, with a stone-cold glare, Cookie drops a bombshell. He wants to raid a high-level abyss immediately. Momo flinches at his reckless courage, whispering his name in panic. The squad leader admits the kid's raw talent is S-tier, but there is a major catch. He lectures that raw power means nothing without battle IQ. Experience is the only thing that saves you in the clutch. Cookie clenches his fist, nodding, absorbing the veteran's wisdom, while Momo stares at him worried. Cut to a local diner, where a student is groaning about starving to death. While Momo goes to town on a sandwich, Cookie sits in silence, finally processing the veteran's warning. He realizes he can't speedrun high-level bosses with skills he barely understands. He needs to grind for real experience. But Momo drops a reality check. The mage world is bureaucratic, and missions are gate-kept by rank. She asks if he's still rushing to die. Cookie says yes, but he'll play the game. Then he reveals the terrifying truth. The apocalypse countdown is at 4 years and 10 months. Eyes intense, Cookie lays out his master plan. Step 1. Recruit loyal ride-or-die allies just like her. Momo listens closely, munching on her snack, nodding along. Step 2, he explains, is chasing clout, gaining status. He needs the world to take his warnings seriously. Then he needs to copy the ultimate combat loadout, stealing defense skills to tank hits for civilians, and healing magic to patch up the wounded. He wants to be a one-man army. With a serious expression, Momo asks about the fourth and final phase. He replies simply, he needs to become overpowered, strong enough to solo the monsters that even the #1 hero couldn't scratch. Fist trembling, he feels the crushing weight of the timeline, knowing every second counts. Desperation sets in. At this snail's pace, he'll never be strong enough to save humanity. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off for Momo. She grabs Cookie's attention with a loophole. She explains that, if a mage proves they are on the same level as the 7 saviors, they can bypass the ranking system entirely. Cookie lights up, but she shrugs. She has no clue how to actually do that. It clicks for him. If he gets recognized by the saviors, he unlocks the high-tier dungeons. The scene shifts to a high-stakes council room, where the legendary 7 saviors are deep in discussion. Ashiya K, number 5, smirks asking, what the buzz is about. Jumon Saijiro number 2 replies that the topic is the rising rookie, Ikutakuki. Edogawa Rampo, number 4, scoffs, labeling him the punk who humiliated Araki's kid. Saijiro breaks down the combat data. The boy chained a thorn skill into a second ability instantly. Igawa Himeka, number 3, deduces he's a multi-skill user, a total anomaly. Suzaki Aurori number 6 yawns, dismissing it, looking bored out of her mind. The room turns to Sagai Tetsu number 1, waiting for the king's verdict. Without a word, he unsheathes an ice blade and vanishes pure speed, breaking the sound barrier. Cut back to Kuki, whose instincts scream as a crushing, oppressive aura locks onto him. The other saviors are left stunned, wondering what Tetsu is plotting. Boom! Sagai Tetsu materializes out of thin air right in front of Kuki, ice sword drawn. Rampo is rattled, wondering how he bypassed the security locks. But Kuki doesn't flinch. He triggers a new skill, sparking a crackling magic circle in his palm. The saviors realize it's lightning magic. Kuki demands to know their business. With a gaze of pure steel, Kuki reveals the plot twist: he actually came here to ask them for a favor. Saijiro raises an eyebrow, intrigued by the rookie's guts. Kuki faces down Tetsu and summons every ounce of his courage, demanding they let him join the ranks of the 7 saviors. The elites are shook, they can't process the audacity. Saijiro scoffs, asking if Kuki thinks one win entitles him to a seat at the table. Ashiya throws Kuki's own words back at him, reminding the boy he called the savior useless. Kuki snaps back, thinking out loud. Seijuro observes the mana flow, realizing this kid is trying to speedrun the system to hit S-class rank immediately. They drop a reality check. Even Sagai, the absolute strongest, took 6 months to pull that off. But Kuki just stares them down with zero chill. He insists he needs that power right now. That triggers Kyugi, who absolutely blows a gasket, screaming at him to stop being an arrogant punk. He lectures that mages need to grind levels as dungeons get tougher. Furious Kyugi steps up, ready to teach this rookie a physical lesson. But Seijuro shuts it down instantly. The old man then drops a bombshell. He suspects Kuki might have the ability to copy skills. Kuki's poker face cracks the vibe in the room, shifting to serious tension. Kyugi looks like he just heard a ghost story. He can't believe a cheat skill like that exists. Ashiya is totally here for the drama, while Igawa looks like he'd rather be napping. Seijuro decides to end the meeting, giving Kuki a hard no for today. Kuki takes the L, visibly frustrated by the rejection. He really wanted to snag a sage-level skill. Deciding it's time for Plan B, he stops holding back and cranks his mana up to 11. A massive white aura detonates around him, crushing the room with pressure. The sages are shook, wondering what kind of monster energy this is. Kyugi thinks the kid wants to throw hands and starts yelling. But suddenly Kuki drops the hostility and bows deeply, leaving the big guy totally confused. Kuki pivots, promising to take their advice to heart and grind twice as hard starting tomorrow. He even thanks Kyugi for the motivational speech. Talk about killing them with kindness. As Kuki calmly walks out, Kyugi takes the bait, hook, line, and sinker, shouting for him to wait. The big guy compliments the kid's insane mana and surprising manners. Kuki flashes a humble smile, but internally he's thinking, this acting isn't my style. Kyugi then asks the million-dollar question. Why the desperate need for power? The boy's face goes dark. We cut to a flashback, revealing his sister collapsed and hooked up to machines in a hospital. He confesses he needs to be a mage she can be proud of when she wakes up. That hits Kyugi right in the feels. The big guy starts bawling and grabs him, screaming that he'll train the kid personally. Cut to the grand arena, where Kyugi flexes his signature ability, creating barriers. Kuki reveals in his inner monologue that he already researched this. He specifically targeted Kyugi to copy this exact skill. With a barrier that strong, he could actually protect the people he loves. Kyugi gets ready to run the test. He announces it's a showdown, ultimate attack versus ultimate defense. He slams his hand down, summoning a massive structure. Behold the wall of determination. The barrier rises with terrifying power, proving exactly why Kyugi is a sage. Kyugi throws down the gauntlet. Try to scratch this. Kyugi doesn't waste a second and launches himself forward. He activates Iron Skin for maximum impact. He collides with the wall head-on, triggering a blinding explosion of golden energy. But physics bites back instantly. The impact rebounds, sending the force straight back into his arm and blasting him backward. He smashes into the ground. Kyugi catches him, explaining the gimmick: the wall reflects all damage back to the attacker. He dares Kuki to try breaking it again, warning him it's no joke. But he dangles a massive carrot in front of him. If Kuki succeeds, he joins the squad and gets a ticket to raid an S-class dungeon. That's the jackpot. Kuki locks in. He activates his skill, a power seal glowing on his hand, and summons Fuma to fuse it with a fireball. He crafts a giant flame tiger. Kyugi's jaw drops. He's never seen a skill that can fuse powers like that. Kuki commands the beast to nuke the target. The tiger charges up a blast. It unleashes a roaring beam of fire, a finisher move aimed straight at the barrier. The firestorm surges forward with insane speed, incinerating everything in its path. Kyugi screams in pure disbelief. There is no way the kid broke the wall in one shot. Kuki flinches, bracing himself. He's expecting the reflected damage to obliterate him. But then he pauses, confused. He feels nothing. 0 damage. Kyugi explains the loophole. The wall doesn't reflect damage if you shatter it on the very first try. He admits Kuki is the first person in history to pull that off. Kuki looks a bit flustered by the high praise, but he's stoked to get the recognition. The big guy turns away, hiding a proud little smile. He asks if the copy worked. Kuki confirms he secured the absolute barrier. Kyugi agrees to let him keep the power, but he warns that a copy is never as good as the original. Then his tone drops. He asks Kuki if he trusts the ministry. The boy hesitates, a heavy memory from his past weighing on his mind. But then comes the twist. Kyugi admits he doesn't trust them either. The ministry is acting sus, and he has no clue what the Grand Mage is plotting. Kuki tries to respond, but suddenly the scene turns into a nightmare right before his eyes. Out of nowhere, Kyugi is impaled from behind, coughing up crimson. Kuki screams his name in panic. His brain refuses to process the image. The attacker, standing over the body, is the Grand Mage himself. Behold the Grand Mage, the top dog at the Ministry of Magic. This dude is the one who predicted the literal end of the world. Desperate to stop the catastrophe, he tapped into ancient vision magic and personally drafted the 7 sages to fix the timeline. Snap back to the now. Kuki is frozen, eyes wide, staring at Kyugi, who's lying there totally wrecked. His voice shakes as he calls out the sage's name, refusing to believe the nightmare. But it's no use, he's not waking up. The big guy is down and out. Suddenly, the Grand Mage closes the gap, sword drawn, ready to slice Kuki in half. Pure instinct takes over. Kuki snaps into action and casts the skill he just mimicked, Absolute Barrier. The shield deflects the blade, saving Kyugi from the follow-up. But Kuki is seeing red. He roars and activates the Thorn User skill. Channeling all that rage, gigantic green spikes explode from the ground, aiming to skewer the Grand Mage. But the old man is way too experienced. His eyes flare with light as he triggers his signature move, Future Sight. He's weaving through the thorns like he's got the cheat codes. Kuki is getting seriously pressed. Can't lay a finger on Mr. Future Sight. Then boom, the mage starts spamming illusion clones. It's a total mind melt for the kid. But wait, Grandpa's movement is off. He's glitching out. Looking less human, more hologram. Then bam, a move. Kuki's Future Sight didn't catch it all. The Grand Mage's head just deletes itself. Poof, gone like smoke. Kuki's left, standing there shook. Cut to the ministry morgue. Kyugi's lying cold on the slab. Kuki steps up heart heavy. He whispers an apology to the body for failing him. But one thing's been eating at him. How'd the mage see the apocalypse but not a single win for the sages? Every vision showed them taking the L. Suddenly it clicks for Kuki. Maybe the mage actually saw the real endgame. The old guy knew the score from day one. The 7 sages were never gonna save us. But why drop a fake prophecy? What's the angle? He whips out his phone. GPS is live. Remember sticky shot. Back in the brawl, Kuki tagged him. The mage took that sticky shot point blank. Didn't even feel it. Now Kuki's got a live ping on his location. Dot on the map locked. Kuki's eyes go cold. Time to expose the real story. He tracks the signal to a sketchy compound wrapped in barbed wire. He creeps up to a door and freezes. It's not a hideout. It's a lab. Rows of creepy stasis pods, looking like glass coffins. What the hell is the Grand Mage doing in a Frankenstein lab? Bam, the old man lunges out of nowhere, hitting like a truck and launching Kuki across the room. Kuki tucks and rolls, snags a rusty pipe, and pops Iron Body just in time. Steel meets pipe, CLA-ing. He blocks the sword strike. The mage, dead silent, just staring daggers. Then they blur, trading blows at Mach speed. Mage asks, wondering why your future sight is off. Kuki grins. I copied your cheat code. We both see the future now. The mage nods, that's why the visions are glitching. Stalemate. They dive back in, weapons clashing wildly. Kuki goes on the offensive, screaming, what did you really see? They lock up again. Weapons grinding, sparks showering down. Kuki pushes harder. Why lie about the prophecy? He thinks of the carnage, the innocent people. You knew hell was coming, and said nothing. Kuki's seeing red now. You let this happen on purpose. A flash of his sister in the hospital fuels the rage. His pipe starts glowing with energy. I'll never forgive you. He swings with everything he's got. Crack, a direct hit. But no blood spills. Just mud. Kuki strikes again, and the old man's body just bursts. Explodes into a gross brown puddle. It wasn't flesh and bone. It was mud. A voice echoes from the shadows. Just as I thought. The Grand Mage has been dead for a long time. Sage Ashia Hikaru steps out, smirking. The leader is history. Kuki freezes. He knows this face. What are you doing here? Ashia laughs. Took you long enough, slowpoke. He flexes his skill, Mud Puppet. He controls corpses with sludge. The Grand Mage everyone worshipped, just Ashia's marionette. Cookie's brain breaks. No way. Then the horror settles in. That means the prophecy. It was a total fabrication. Ashia grins like a psycho. Yeah, I made the puppet lie. To burn the world down. Cookie's shaking with hate, cursing him out. You're insane. Ashia shrugs. Science was going to predict the apocalypse anyway. I just used the mage to announce it first. Gave them false hope. The Seven Sages' savior narrative. Everyone sighed with relief. They felt safe. They got lazy. Made it way easier to end them. Cookie frowns. Destroy the world. Why? Ashia's eyes go dark. The end is inevitable. It's what we will. He drops the bombshell. That's exactly why he iced the great mage and took the wheel. He forced the old man to cap, feeding the public that lie about the seven saviors rescuing the world. Cookie's eyes bug out brain, refusing to process the audacity. He questions if this psycho is actually serious about something so twisted. A flashback of that bloody day rips through the protagonist's mind, replaying the slaughter in 4K. It clicks. Asha orchestrated the whole nightmare. From day one. Asha grins, admitting he crowned himself a savior just to move around without suspicion. But he gives credit where it's due. Cookie peeped the game and tried to solo the apocalypse, hand glowing with menace. He warns that our hero's little adventures are becoming a liability. Our boy locks in, bracing for whatever horror drops next. Suddenly, nasty brown slime bubbles up from the floor fast. It's his SIG skill, Mud Marionette, sculpting straight-up nightmare fuel from clay. He flexes his collection of deceased mages and dares Cookie to run the gauntlet. Cookie screams at him to cut the crap. Fist charged with raw power, he smashes the earth, demanding to know the motive behind this world-ending madness. But Asha just smirks, hitting him with the why talk. When you're about to be unalived, staring down a mud army, the hero knows he's got to clutch up, or it's game over. He triggers his link skill, magic seal flaring on his palm. He remixes gravity manipulation with fireball, spawning a flaming meteor. Asha is actually impressed, vibing with the fact that the kid can not only use, but stack skills like a pro. With a twisted glare, he says he'd love to dissect Cookie's body, then makes a call. He whips out a syringe, threatening to add him to the puppet roster. But psyche, he jams the needle into his own neck, triggering Mud Marionette. His body hulks out instantly, muscles bulging with mud-enhanced steroids. Cookie is shook by the transformation, and Asha explains that his mud buffs the living too. To test the specs of his new power, he swings at the hero with a devastating haymaker. The protagonist barely tanks it, realizing his mana tank is hitting empty. Asha talks trash, asking what's wrong while flexing his superior kit. Cookie claps back by fusing Future Sight with Absolute Barrier, eating the blow. Asha feels the resistance on his fist, finally decoding the opponent's strat. He realizes the kid combined the Great Mage's skill with his own shield. It's an auto-defense cheat code that reads the future to block before impact. But Asha keeps spamming attacks, betting Cookie's mana will dry up first. The barrier starts fracturing under the heavy hits it's not going to hold. Boom, a new skill procs, throwing up a green energy wall. The villain is stunned, wondering how he's juggling a third skill simultaneously. Cookie stands his ground even though the stamina drain is real. Asha gives props to the kid's prediction defense and counter game. Cookie asks, "What are you?" And Asha decides to drop the lore out of respect for the grind. He reveals the apocalypse is just a ritual for interdimensional beasts. To make it happen, these monsters seeded the human world with magic. The protagonist freezes the sickening reality sinking in. Asha confirms they gifted magic solely to fatten this world up for consumption. He breaks it down. Mages are basically 5-star meals for these monsters. Magic was just fertilizer to make humans. Tasty for harvest season. Cookie stares him down, asking if he's seriously co-signing this plan. He yells, "You're human too. You cool with being monster chow," but with a wicked smile. Asha hits him with the ultimate curveball. When did I ever say I was human? This revelation leaves our MC completely speechless, totally paralyzed by the shock. Suddenly, the villain's body snaps and twists, leaking dark red energy like a broken reactor. His eyes flare yellow, exposing the beast within. Then, wings of pure fire energy rip from his back. He ditches the glasses, and his face melts into a maw of razor-sharp teeth. His legs morph into thick, beastly stumps. Cookie looks up, brain unable to compute the horror, standing right in front of him. The transformation finishes, replacing the scientist with a towering, terrifying kaiju. The hero is frozen in terror, staring down the true face of the enemy. A voice from the past echoes, saying he'll serve as bait. Flashback time, we see Araki shoving Irori forward to sacrifice her. She's panicking, screaming, "What are you doing?" He turns, declaring he's one of the 7 saviors, so he's basically immortal. Araki claims he's high-value loot compared to her, while Momo screams for her sister. Even while grounded, Irori tells Cookie to book it because the monster is closing in. Back in the now, the protagonist connects the dots. The beast drops a nightmare revelation. The chosen ones aren't special, they're just future livestock for the monsters to feast on. The truth hits Cookie like a truck, dropping him to his knees, utterly broken by the dark reality. Mocking his despair, the creature applauds him for surviving this long before launching a goodbye gift, a massive beam of crimson energy. It screams toward our hero at Mach speed. Zero magic, zero movement. Cookie is frozen stiff, staring down the barrel of his own death. He realizes too late that spamming Future Sight completely emptied his tank, leaving him defenseless. Worse, the absolute barrier guzzled the last of his mana in seconds. He remembers that ancient tech was way out of his league. Sprawled in the dirt, he hates himself for hitting his limit in a hellhole like this. But the refusal to quit burns inside him. Screaming that he won't die today, he tries to force the absolute barrier one more time. The seal on his hand flickers like a dying light bulb too weak to spark. His hair shifts color, but panic sets in as the magic engine stalls out. Boom! The monster's blast tears up the earth, sending a shockwave ripping through the zone. Flashback to a few days ago. Cookie is grilling the librarian about what his actual true ability is. She drops the truth. His current power set is just on loan, which is why it hits a ceiling. But his original dormant skill, it's in a completely different weight class. Cookie stands there, speechless, processing that he's been sitting on a hidden nuke this whole time. With starry eyes, he begs to know if there is a magic that belongs only to him. He's hyped, demanding the instruction manual. She lays out the unlock condition to trigger his ultimate skill. He has to activate 7 abilities simultaneously. Cookie's jaw hits the floor. That sounds physically impossible, but the librarian explains that every skill he collected is actually a key. The second he turns all 7 keys at once, his true crest will unlock. 7. He repeats the number, disbelieving. The most he's ever juggled is 2 skills at the same time. She admits that while 3 is manageable in a fight, 7 would normally drain his mana bar to 0 instantly. Smiling calmly, she explains, the catch: this god-tier magic is a one-shot deal, usable only when his mana is at 100% capacity. Snap back to the present. The monster strikes and Cookie strains to pull up the absolute barrier, but despair crashes down. When the spell fails, he's running on fumes. With grim determination, he braces himself to tank the hit raw. He screams internally, begging the universe for just a drop of magic power to return. As he cries out, a figure blurs into the frame. Suddenly, Kanai Momo tackles him out of the kill zone, taking the blast in his place. They crash into the dirt, barely dodging the explosion. Momo grins, looking relieved to see him alive. But Cookie is confused. Why is she here? She snaps back, flashing her phone screen. You sent the location, genius. It clicks. He did send the Grand Mage's coordinates as a backup plan, but panic overrides relief. He screams at her to run, realizing this enemy is way above their pay grade. He warns her that he's completely tapped out, and immobile fighting now is a suicide mission. Momo ignores him, charging a fireball in her hands. But instead of throwing it, she spins around and slams her glowing palms onto his chest, making Cookie gasp in shock. The monster pauses, finding their desperate struggle entertaining. Suddenly, a violet aura wraps around our hero. She reveals her secret technique, Healing Fireball, declaring that she never leaves a friend behind. Cookie feels his mana bar refilling at warp speed, shocked by the surge. Momo asks the million-dollar question. With full power, can you take this ugly thing down? Stunned, he asks, when did you learn that? She hints that she's had her own off-screen training arc, facing plenty of dangers solo. She promises to spill the tea later after he destroys the monster. The beast eyes that rare healing magic, vowing to add her to its collection. Cookie thanks her, feeling the strength flood back into his veins. Flashbacks of his loser past hit him how different the vibe is now. Back then he had 0 magic, and was the punching bag for every bully in school. He is not that helpless kid who needed his sister to save him anymore. He remembers the oath he made to evolve and never be weak again. Now he has a squad he can trust. Locking eyes with Momo, he realizes he finally has a magic that is his alone. The monster scoffs, calling it useless. Bragging that its body has adapted to magic immunity and super regeneration, only a one-hit KO works. The villain boasts that their weak skills can't finish it in a single shot. It charges up another blast, ready to end the game. Cookie ignores the noise and starts the combo, activating gravity manipulation. He stacks Thorn User Fireball, Electronic Hacking, and the Fuma Beast. Then the hero locks in the final piece, Absolute Barrier. Mud Puppet joins the combo, sealing the deal. The monster screeches, realizing its energy beam is totally useless against this defense. The barrier is unbreakable, tanking the hit and keeping Cookie and Momo safe from the blast. The villain is losing his absolute mind, refusing to believe a mere human could block that kind of firepower. Then he spots the black crest on Cookie's hand, ancient magic signature detected. Hair shifting to electric blue, our protagonist drops the ultimatum. He's ending this creature right here, right now. He vows to save the world, eyes glowing white as he charges up his first ultimate move. Cookie unleashes his signature magic, Vanta Black. Through the smoke and chaos, Mickey Mirai witnesses the aftermath. Seeing Kyugi Arashiho floored, the big guy is in shock, muttering impossible, like a broken record, before his system shuts down, and he passes out. Cookie grins, celebrating the dub and thanking Kanai Momo for the assist. But the victory lap is cut short. Dark, sinister energy erupts from his core. Pain shoots through him, dropping him to his knees. While Momo screams his name in panic, Cookie stares at his hand, spotting a weird symbol, and wondering what kind of ancient curse this is. Lore drop. This is extinct magic stuff that doesn't just wake up in modern humans. Only the great mage, or someone who's studied an ancient grimoire can wield it, and the recoil is brutal. Cue a flashback of the librarian, revealing that Cookie's original skill is way more OP than he thought. Cookie's confused, clueless about his own magic, or if she was even hinting at this. Kanai Momo rushes over asking if he's good. Seeing him grounded but determined, Cookie realizes he needs to grind and master this power to level up. Cut to his past life, he's staring at his phone jaw on the floor. The screen is flashing breaking news about the Great Mage vanishing into thin air. He's baffled. The disappearance of number 4 and the Great Mage was the story that shook the globe. Scene shift, Ashiya Hikaru is in chains, getting grilled as the prime suspect. The interrogator, none other than number 3 police chief Igawa Himeka. She steps up asking, with a smirk, if he's ready to spill the tea yet. Ashiya stays quiet, just flashing a bruised, cocky grin. Himeka lays out the receipts his sludge was found on the Great Mage's body. She demands to know why he was found lying there like a loser. His reply is pure mockery. Who knows? That non-answer instantly triggers her. Realizing talk is cheap, Igawa decides to beat the confession out of him. She summons a literal arsenal of weapons, warning him she's about to test how tough he really is. Then she goes full savage mode. Finally unleashing her powers, she flashes a cruel smile, promising to start the torture session with his gut. Even while getting wrecked, Ashiya compliments her form, saying it wasn't half bad. Cut to a morgue, where Cookie is staring at a covered body looking heavy. He whispers that the vendetta is finally complete. On the slab lies Kyugi, the guy our protagonist just flattened on the battlefield. Suddenly, a glowing book spawns out of nowhere, startling Cookie. He recognizes the grimoire, the loot he copied from Ashiya, wondering why it's popping up now. First skill was body control, but the second one, soul doll. Cookie is shook. He can literally resurrect a soul into a doll. He realizes he can bring Kyugi back, since the puppet took him out. He weighs the RNG of failure, but decides he's got to shoot his shot. Locked in, he places a hand on the corpse and activates soul doll. Golden energy wraps around the body. And boom, a chibi version of Kyugi appears on the table. The original body turns to dust and deletes itself. Cookie watches in silence, waiting to see if the respawn worked. The tiny doll twitches and opens its eyes, looking totally lost. Sitting up, mini Kyugi scans the room and demands to know where the hell he is. He turns to the protagonist, asking if he's Akuta. Confused by his tiny size, Cookie gets emotional and bear hugs the doll, who screams at him to back off. Cut to Kanai Momo waking up and stretching. Total sunshine vibes, oblivious to the drama. Next day, she's in the park playing with the Kyugi doll, thinking he's the cutest thing ever. But he's salty, climbing onto her head and yelling, "Don't touch the merchandise." Even as a toy, the old man keeps his gangster attitude, arms crossed and grumpy. He comments that he never guessed these two rookies were sitting on such massive secrets. Kyugi calls the world trash, dragging Ashiya and the Great Mage too. Cookie remembers the mission, defeat thousands of monsters to stop the apocalypse. Plus, Kyugi warns there might be more psychos like Ashiya out there. Momo hears this and locks in, determined to buff her skills, so she's not dead weight in the next fight. Cookie gets curious, asking where she even learned that healing ability. Smiling, Momo starts dropping her backstory. The scene transitions into a flashback. She drops the backstory she ran into Suzaki Irori at a local crepe spot. But it wasn't just a snack run. The mysterious girl actually coached her on controlling her fire. Zoom in on Momo's eye, you can literally see a phoenix burning in the reflection. That's her power source. But right in the middle of training, Iori cuts her off. She tells Momo she's using the skill all wrong. To prove it, Irori unleashes a blinding blue flame. Momo is totally floored. Irori drops some wisdom. Her blue flames aren't just hot. They expose the true nature of other people's skills. Here's the kicker. Momo's fireball isn't a weapon. It's actually a healing buff. Momo's jaw hits the floor. She can't believe what she's hearing. After that bombshell, she grinded non-stop to unlock this new potential. Finally, she nails it and shows off the results to Cookie. But Cookie's scratching his head. He copied that exact fireball skill, so why can't he pull off the healing trick? That's when little Kyugi pipes up. He figures it's gotta be a reversibility. He breaks it down. Skills are like two sides of a coin. You got the front and the back. Sometimes a lucky streak can flip into total bad luck. The flip side only triggers after you've spammed the skill for a long time. Just like Momo's fire changed, his defensive barrier has a reverse mode, a devastating attack. It clicks for Cookie, his own power must have a hidden mode too. Suddenly, a massive headache hits him with a strange vision. He sees a black hole tearing open above a building. Images flood his brain, two guys in uniforms lurking in the shadows. Then he sees her, his older sister lying on the ground looking like she's in serious trouble. Cookie snaps out of the trance, screaming her name. He scares the living daylights out of Momo. Cookie looks down at his trembling hand, it's glowing with the mark of ancient magic. It was the future sight skill kicking in. That vision wasn't a dream, it was a warning. Zero hesitation he bolts, yelling that he has to leave right now. All he can think about is his sister facing death. As they sprint through the city streets, Momo asks if he really just predicted the future. Cookie doesn't stutter. He confirms it. The vision showed the hospital with those two creeps watching from a distance. He pushes his speed to the limit. He knows if he doesn't get there fast, that nightmare is going to become reality. The image of his helpless sleeping sister is burned into his retinas. Driven by fear, he kicks it into high gear. He's terrified she's going to die. And then boom, a dark portal rips open the sky exactly like he saw. The younger hypebeast villain looks ready to throw hands, calling out to his partner, but the other guy shuts him down cold. Not now, we're on the clock. Cut to the hospital room. Cookie's sister Mickey Mirai is sound asleep, totally unaware. The two bad guys glide in through the window like ghosts. The leader floats silently toward the bed. He whispers that he's finally come to collect her. He scoops her up and takes off flying while his partner whines about the mission being a snooze fest. Perfect timing. Cookie bursts onto the scene screaming for them to stop. Seeing them escaping, our MC defies gravity, rising up until he's eye level with the kidnappers. He charges up a containment spell. He mixes gravity magic with his fireball. Cookie unleashes meteor shower, raining hellfire down on these guys without holding back a single ounce of strength. But the young villain just lifts a finger. He freezes the attack in midair. With a casual flick, he detonates every single meteor. They didn't even get close. Cookie is paralyzed with shock. This enemy's power level is completely off the charts. Smirking at Cookie's reaction, the guy mocks him. "What's wrong, buddy?" Furious Cookie roars at them to hand over his sister immediately. The leader notes how fast Cookie arrived, almost like he knew exactly what was going to happen. Our hero glares daggers at them. "Who the hell are you people?" The light-haired villain suddenly picks up on a specific magical signature. He wonders aloud if Mickey used regression magic. Then he grins, asking if Cookie is the one who took down Ashia. Cookie is losing it. He demands answers. "What do you know? Are you working with Ashia?" The partner snaps, yelling that they'd never team up with a pathetic loser like that. Cookie reads the room and decides to fight. He powers up again, vowing to rescue his sister no matter what. But the leader warns him Mickey is a crucial key for their plans too. He snaps his fingers, triggering the next phase. Boom. A massive grotesque demon manifests behind the villains, flipping the script entirely. Down on the street, Momo and Kyugi watch in horror as monsters pour out of the portal. The old man is rattled. Monsters spawning right in the middle of the city. That's never happened before. Worse yet, their energy is suffocating. These things are S rank or higher. Cookie stares down the duo. He's convinced these guys are tied to the apocalypse. Watching the monsters trash the city just confirms his worst fears. Out of nowhere, Kusano jumps in, impaling one of the creatures with his spikes. Cookie ignores the backup. He screams at the villains that if they touch a hair on her head, they're dead. But the leader just smiles chillingly. He drops the bomb. "Mickey isn't your real sister." Our hero freezes his brain, unable to process the words. The villain twists the knife, explaining that Mickey is actually one of their comrades. Cookie is left standing there, totally bewildered. He drops the bombshell. Her true endgame is literally deleting the world. Cookie is absolutely rattled by this truth bomb. Brain short-circuiting, he can't handle the reality, while the leader's partner just starts cackling, mocking their whole sibling act. Cookie snaps, eyes going dark as he screams at them to cut the nonsense. Cue the flashback memories of his sister flooding in. The one who was his rock, helping him study with that gentle smile. That image, that was his anchor. Back in real time, he rejects the lie, roaring that she's his blood. He goes full try-hard mode, activating every copied ability in his arsenal, charging up a tactical nuke. He even tosses the mud puppet into the mix to fuse everything into one unstable energy ball. He unleashes his ult, Extreme Dark Light. He throws everything he has, landing a direct hit on the villain's face, catching the guy totally off guard. The impact is so massive, it launches the enemy across the battlefield like a ragdoll. Down below, Momo and Kyugi are floored, jaws on the ground at Cookie's insane power level. Our main character stares into the dust, waiting for the kill confirm. But plot twist, the smoke clears and the villain is standing there without a single scratch. Cookie is devastated. His max damage attack did 0 HP damage. The villain just starts laughing, flashing a matching crest of ancient magic. Cookie looks at his own hand, sees the duplicate symbol, and his mind goes blank. The bad guy gets hype, saying his hands are itching for a real brawl. He's ready to toy with Cookie, but his partner hits the brakes on that idea. The fight's called off anyway because the recoil from that attack completely paralyzes our hero. Momo is screaming his name, terrified that this forbidden magic is going to kill him. He struggles to reach out, but his body is on lockdown from the pain. With a smug grin, The leader waves goodbye, dropping a cryptic "don't worry, catch you later." And just like that, they vanish into a portal. Kuki, totally drained, starts free-falling from the sky. Gravity takes over, and all he sees is his sister, while Momo screams from the ground. The mark on his hand fades out, and he blacks out, whispering her name. Dream sequence. Miki Murai is hyping him up, telling him to never quit. But suddenly, the vibe shifts, her face twists, morphing into a nightmarish grin. Kuki wakes up gasping, drenched in cold sweat and totally confused. He scans the room, hospital vibes. Kanai Momo is bedside, explaining he passed out and things got sketchy, but her healing spells pulled him back. Memory reloads, he realizes he has to save his sister, yelling that she isn't on the enemy team. He tries to rip out the IVs and leave, but his body is wrecked. Kanai shuts that down immediately, telling him he's in no condition to throw hands. Tears welling up, she warns him that spamming that skill again is a one-way ticket to the grave. Plus, she drops the hard truth. His desperate attack didn't even scratch the enemy. Kuki is stubborn, though panicked about his sister's safety. Suddenly, the little mascot yells at him, calling him an idiot for thinking he can save anyone like this. He tells Kuki to actually learn his kit and figure out how to use the power safely. If he can't level up his control, the rescue mission is doomed. Kuki repeats the advice, letting it sink in. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off for Kanai Momo, and she says she knows the perfect mentor. Scene switch. Igawa Himeka storms into a high-level meeting, shouting Ikuta Kuki's name. Jimon Sejiro listens to the intel and calmly confirms the rumors are legit. Himeka calls it a code red violation and demands Kuki's immediate arrest. But Sejiro cuts her off, claiming jurisdiction since he's the one who scouted the boy. Sagai Tetsu gets salty, asking if he's serious, but Sejiro waves him off. Sagai Tetsu stands up and storms out, leaving Sejiro brooding alone. A teacher steps out of the shadows with a creepy grin, ranting about how he hates arrogant newbies like Kuki. Pure malice on his face, as he decides to end the boy's career permanently right there. Meanwhile, Sagai Tetsu is powering up, dark energy swirling around his fist. He stares at his hand, watching red and black power surge, ready for war. Back in the garden, Kanai Momo is clasping her hands, begging for a favor to check Kuki's stats. She's asking Suzaki Iori, who looks shocked but agrees to help her bestie. Iori says she was just chilling, but she'll do it for a premium crepe. Momo is thrilled and tackles her in a hug. Kuki is surprised Iori is on board, noting the strong bond between the girls. Iori starts the ritual, casting a blue flame to scan Kuki's potential. But suddenly, the flame glitches, turning pitch black and unstable. Iori freezes. Kanai asks what's wrong. Irori's voice trembles. She can't see anything, just void. She says his skill is broken logic, pure overwhelming darkness that defies analysis. The scan failed. Irori decides, talk is cheap, Kuki needs a front row seat to his own soul. Flipping the script, she weaves a fresh incantation. Boom! Blazing emerald flames erupt. She drops the lore stare into this inferno, and you take a one-way trip into your own psyche. She commands Kuki to gaze into the abyss. It's the only way to witness the dormant beast residing within him. His irises flare up, locking onto the spell. Bam! Reality dissolves. Next thing he knows, he's jolting awake in a bizarre realm that looks suspiciously like the library. He assumes it's the visual manifestation of his power, but the vibe, totally off. Then he spots it, a body sprawled on the floor. Panic spikes. It's the librarian. But lurking in the shadows behind her, a mysterious silhouette. The stranger pivots, voice cutting through the silence. Here to unlock your potential, Kuki freezes muscles, coiling tight. The shadow steps into the light, dropping the bombshell. It's him, the OG Kuki from the past. Not just any version, this is the powerless, bullied kid from middle school. Kuki stares mind blown, looking at his own trauma in the flesh, who just smirks and calls him lucky. Past Kuki spills the tea. He didn't just awaken a skill, he hit the magical jackpot, the G-O-A-T of abilities. On the floor, the battered librarian gasps, trying to warn him about the skill's true name. She barely gets a breath out before, wham, she's ragdolled across the room, silenced instantly. Kuki stands there paralyzed by the sheer brutality, while his alter ego drops the reveal creation. Clutching a tome, he declares, this is the primordial source code, the world's first ancestral magic. Our MC is reeling, brain short-circuiting. The shadow explains that creation isn't just making things, it's warping reality to fit your deepest cravings. All those copied skills before, just raw materials, scraps for the forge. So the shadow taunts, what's the play? What magic are you gonna build? Kuki hesitates, choking on the possibilities. His dark side twists the knife, calling out Kuki's jealousy. Holographic flashbacks flicker, showing everyone else flexing their powers, reminding him how badly he craved what they had. The shadow gets up in his face. Don't you want to level up? You need to be the apex predator. Otherwise, saving your sister pipe dream. You're too weak. Malicious energy starts pouring off him. Surpass me, the shadow commands. The power isn't out there. It's already in your veins. You just have to want it bad enough. Kuki locks in channeling that pure, unadulterated hunger and forges his second ability. The sinister eye snaps open. Dark mana explodes outward, infecting every book on the shelves with corruption. Shadow Kuki cackles maniacally. No more manaless loser, he gestures to the chaos. Every spell, every tome spawning right now. It's all yours. Bathed in that sinister glow, Kuki unlocks his god-tier potential, basically ascending to Demon King status. Cut to reality. Back at the ritual site, Kuki is zoning out, hard eyes dead drowning in the swirling green sorcery. Kanai is stressing out. He looks like he's in agony. She's pleading for him to snap out of it, but fate has other plans. Crack. A golden lightning bolt slams into the earth, wrecking the ritual. Acting on instinct, the little mascot summons an absolute barrier to shield the squad. Kanai gasps. Then, out of the smoke, Seijuro steps up and hammer fists the barrier with a massive energy blast. The force is insane. The shield obliterates, sending the little guy flying. Seijuro smirks. Not bad, Kyugi. That was actually sturdy. The girls freeze, realizing a second hexagonal shield barely saved their skins. Seijuro glares at them. The seven saviors really let their standards drop. Kyugi snarls back. What are you doing here? Seijuro points a finger. I'm here for Ikuta. He flashes a wicked grin. Oops, sorry in advance if I accidentally delete him from existence. Protect Ikuta, Kyugi roars, launching a full-throttle suicide charge at the villain. But right before impact, the old man glitches out of existence. Poof. Kyugi swings at empty air, totally bamboozled by that god-tier speed. Bam, bam, bam. Kyugi takes a flurry of invisible hits. Too fast, he cries out. Seijuro chuckles, revealing his trump card, Speed of Light. Literally invisible to the naked eye. He delivers a haymaker, scoffing. You're out of your league, pipsqueak. But Kyugi scrapes himself off the pavement. He remembers when Ikuta saved his hide. Fueled by debt and loyalty, he screams, you will not touch him. Suddenly, a tsunami of black energy explodes from Kuki's motionless body, lifting him off the ground. Irori and Kanai spin around, jaws dropping. The boy is back. He hovers there, draped in shadows, triggering that brand new second ability. The system announces the power, Extreme Black Eye. Kanai can't find the words because the moment that skill activates, a crushing gravity wave hits them. The girls buckle, feeling their vitality being sucked dry. What is this? Even Seijuro staggers. He realizes the gimmick: this monster is copying every ability within range. Not just copying, it's devouring their mana like a black hole. Kyugi hits the dirt, totally drained. Ikuta, what have you become? Camera pulls back, it's not just them. Civilians blocks away are dropping. Kyugi screams Kuki's name in desperate terror. With eyes cold as ice, he glares at the guy, demanding to know what the hell he's doing, and accusing him of straight-up stealing power. The protagonist doesn't flinch, simply replying, I know. Kyugi freezes stunned as the boy drops the hard truth. None of this matters if he's too weak to save his sister. Proof of his resolve, he raises a fist marked with a bizarre sigil, insisting he needs more strength. Ikuta then drops the bombshell. He's gonna harvest everyone's power, to sit on the throne as the absolute strongest. Kanai loses it, screaming his name and begging him to end this insanity right freaking now. But Siegel just cackles. Just as he suspected, this kid isn't just a threat, he's a walking catastrophe. That settles it. He decides he has to wipe Kuki off the face of the earth, right here, right now. He downs a handful of pills boosters that crank his magic up by over 100 times. Golden energy erupts from his eyes, signaling a massive surge. He unleashes everything he's got in one earth-shattering strike. Die screaming like a maniac, he lunges, hand glowing with lethal intent, aiming to put Ikuta Kuki in the ground permanently. But the blast halts midair. The old man's jaw drops in disbelief. Kuki just stares down at him like he's nothing. He spits out a warning. A fake savior like Seigel isn't touching him. Suddenly, the sky tears open, dark portals manifesting above. Flexing his new strength, a barrage of mixed magic rains down from the voids, hammering Siegel from every angle. Caught in the crossfire, he screams as the blast hurls him backward. But mid-fall, he feels a new terrifying energy building up. He's totally blindsided. Kuki triggers his first skill, Extreme Black Light, and unleashes a beam of pure destruction. The beam connects dead center. The old man howls in agony as the impact leaves him a bloody mess. Kuki just hovers there watching. Kyugi's mind is blown. Kuki fired that off without taking a single ounce of recoil damage. Itadori puts the pieces together. He nullified the backlash using the magic he siphoned from everyone else. Kanai stares at him, heartbroken. Is this really your answer? She screams that gaining power like this isn't the real Kuki. The young man just stares back, eyes completely dead, totally detached. Kyugi steps in, it's pointless. She can't reach him now. Then Kuki declares he's tracking down his sister. He can feel her signature inside him. Closing his eyes, he locks onto the magical trail. A smirk forms. Eyes snap open. Found her. Raising his arm into the shadows, Kuki vows to save his sister. A portal rips open, stunning the squad. Kyugi tries to insist they're tagging along, but Kuki shuts him down cold. He doesn't need them. They're just dead weight. The frostiness hits Kanai hard. She screams for him to wait, but he steps into the void without looking back. He totally ignores her. In a last-ditch panic, Kanai reaches out, grabbing at empty air. I won't let you go alone. Suddenly, the portal yanks Kanai and Kyugi inside, leaving Irori stranded. Then, Irori senses a presence. Sagai Tetsu materializes behind her eyes, serious and radiating menace. He towers over her, itching for a brawl. Meanwhile, in a ruined hall, two men loom over a girl's body on an altar. One smirks, impressed that the guy pulled off reversal magic. The other groans. Not only did she escape, she swiped the book too. That runaway girl is a headache, but the ritual, still on track. With the magic stored in Miki, he's about to wait. The silver-haired dude senses an intruder. His partner looks confused. Footsteps echo. It's Kuki, descending the stairs. A voice cuts through the air, sarcastic as hell, telling him to roll out the red carpet. Kanai Momo pops up, begging Kuki to chill and just listen. But boom, dark energy detonates instantly. Kanai and her little pet freeze, paralyzed by the blast. Totally shook. A blonde man emerges, draped in power, sneering that Kuki walked right into their world. Kuki stares blankly, giving the enemy absolutely zero reaction. The guy gets hyped. This is perfect. He lunges, going all out from the jump. Getting right in Kuki's face, he whispers that he's been dying to play. Grinning like a psycho, he unleashes a high-voltage strike. Bam, direct hit on our hero. But he's not done. He boasts about his skill, spatial bypass, which lets him warp attacks through space. He swings again, claiming it's literally impossible to dodge. He vows to beat Kuki into a bloody pulp, raining down blows and taunting. Too fast for ya. Then the vibe shifts. The villain gets ticked off. Kuki isn't even flinching while taking this beating. The enemy stands stunned. Suddenly, our hero catches a fist mid-swing. Give me back my sister. He unleashes absolute black light. Bizarre energy erupts, crushing the villain under insane pressure. Realizing his aura has leveled up, Kyugi manifests a sphere of blinding light and crushes it with his bare hands like it's nothing. The shockwave sends the enemy ragdolling into the dirt, totally defenseless. Without wasting a millisecond, Kyugi winds up for a finisher, delivering a haymaker straight to the face of his downed opponent. The impact is sickening, spraying blood everywhere. Completely wrecked, the villain spits out curses at Kyugi, calling him absolute trash. He can't wrap his head around it. Last time Kyugi couldn't even handle this energy, but Kyugi just stares him down, ice cold and silent. Suddenly, he lands another devastating strike, creating a shockwave that nearly knocks Kanai off her feet. The bad guy realizes his mana is being siphoned, screaming that Kyugi is vampire draining his power with this new ability. Our protagonist is high on this incredible surge of energy. Meanwhile, Kanai Momo stands frozen, watching Kyugi with pure dread in her eyes. We cut to a savage beatdown montage with red splattering across the screen. Finally, the villain is mashed into the floor, barely conscious but still glaring daggers at our hero. Kyugi demands his sister's location, but the guy smirks, claiming she's now part of Mobius. Little Kyugi's temper flares, and the villain confirms Mobius is the name of their squad. He drops the lore they are 5 warriors born to keep order in this world. Kanai is shook, realizing these guys are actually the world's guardians. Right then, Ashia pops up, explaining their whole mission is ensuring the ritual succeeds. Kyugi is stunned, realizing they've been pulling the strings on the apocalypse, but he snaps out of it, cutting the chatter, saying he couldn't care less. He turns to Kanai, then gives the villain exactly 5 seconds to spill his sister's location, or it's lights out. Kyugi starts the countdown, the air getting heavy with killing intent. But out of nowhere, Kanai rushes in, grabbing his face to physically stop him. The protagonist is totally blindsided, confused why she's interrupting his flow. She screams in his face, asking how he can be so heartless. She reminds him why he grinded so hard to get here, to stop the world from ending and save everybody. Kanai accuses him of stealing his sister's power and losing his humanity in the process. She insists the Kyugi she knows never used his skills for evil. This isn't him. A pink aura flares around her. As she yells that she isn't the chosen savior, a voice echoes in Kyugi's mind, asking what kind of mage he really wants to become. The scene flash-forwards to a memory lane moment, a woman asking him what ability he wished for. Little Kyugi hypes himself up, replying he wants the most OP skill in existence. She asks what he'd actually do, if he had that kind of god-tier power. He pauses, looking thoughtful, but answers quickly. He'd use it to protect his sister. The woman smiles, thanking him, but drops a hint that that's not the whole picture, leaving the kid confused. She explains that wielding great power means protecting everyone. Even before knowing what class he'll roll, she's certain he'll be a top-tier mage. The scene shifts to a hero, declaring that he wants to help anyone in need. He doubles down, saying this power exists to save people. Little Kyugi's eyes sparkle with excitement, as he asks if he has what it takes to be a savior, patting his head. She replies with zero doubt that yes he can, adding that he'll crush it as long as he never quits. Snap back to reality, Kyugi is paralyzed by the weight of that memory. The look in his eyes shifts, proving those words hit deep. Suddenly, he drives a fist hard into Kanai's stomach, making her scream in agony. The villain spots that Kyugi's magic has vanished and orders his partner to attack, so the enemy charges in and starts mercilessly stomping our hero. Moments later, Kyugi is face down on the floor, totally battered. As the villain gloats over him, a vision of Kyugi appears, asking why he's just lying there like a loser. The boy warns him that at this rate, it's game over. Kyugi thinks he needs to hoard more mana to save his sister, but immediately shakes off that dark thought. The vision of his younger self looks confused, not getting the hero's logic. He recalls how he used to crave power, how he was jealous of everyone else's skills, and just wanted to be the strongest. But his true dream was to become a mage his sister would be proud of, someone who fights for the weak. Just like Mickey always did. A mage who protects his circle the same way his sister protects the world. Kyugi screams that, if he isn't that kind of mage, he can't face her. He promised his sister he'd shield the world and be everyone's savior. Suddenly, a splitting headache drops him, making him scream. The scene glitches, and Kyugi wakes up in a white void that looks like a library. The librarian of his skill materializes in front of him, catching the hero off guard. She explains that the creation skill evolves and he has finally unlocked its meaning. A brilliant blue aura wraps around Kyugi as he realizes this is his true potential. The librarian hands him a book. The mysterious voice declares this the world's first skill and demands a name. Suddenly, reality snaps back, showing Cookie face down in the dirt. He's a bloody mess, totally wrecked. Kanai screams his name in panic, and our main character slowly drags himself off the floor. The villain is shook, unable to process how Cookie is standing with his eyes still shut. Inside our hero's mind, the voice finally drops the skill's name. His eyes snap open, blazing with neon blue energy, and he announces Light of Salvation. The bad guy is confused. He senses zero mana coming from the kid, and assumes it's a desperate bluff. Cookie admits his tank is empty, but the villain just laughs at what sounds like a pathetic excuse. The enemy winds up for a fatal blow, screaming that he's going to delete Cookie and the weaklings. But suddenly, an insane amount of mana erupts from Cookie, leaving the villain trembling at the sheer pressure. Our hero explains, this is Savior's magic. It's a clutch ability that only triggers to protect others. And when his friends are on the line, his mana becomes infinite. The villain completely loses it, screaming that infinite energy is a glitch in reality and unleashes his entire arsenal. Cookie, however, casually swats away every single attack. The enemy is speechless as his space-bending strikes phase right through our boy. Cookie announces he's downloaded the guy's attack pattern, leaving the villain stunned. He explains the cheat code once his eyes see a skill. It can never hurt him again. The villain rages at how broken that ability is, but Cookie already has a palm right in his face. With a single tap, he dumps a surge of blue energy that instantly paralyzes the enemy. The guy is frozen in terror, trapped in a split second by a power he can't comprehend. The overflow is so intense that the villain's own eye starts glowing from the magical radiation. From a distance, his partner spots the white sigil, a magic attribute that shouldn't even exist. Cookie reveals the truth. This is the light attribute, his exclusive power. He charges up to end this, unleashing the full force of his first skill. He fires a beam called Pure White Light. A massive orbital laser descends, smashing the villain directly into the ground. When the dust clears, the enemy is flattened, and Cookie stands tall as the winner. We cut to the other bad guy still watching Mickey's body on the altar. His eyes go wide, absolutely floored by the scene. Seeing Cookie standing with his squad, he realizes his partner just got folded. A new villainess steps out, scoffing at how pathetic it is for a partner to lose to a human. Suddenly, a skeleton spawns next to her, asking if they should slice and dice Cookie right now. She says she needs a moment, and tells the skeleton to take out the trash. Meanwhile, Kanai Momo tackles Cookie with a hug, hyped that he's finally back to normal. She points out he's unlocked God mode again, and he thanks them both. Cookie flashes a genuine smile, thanking Momo for keeping him grounded on what actually matters. She grins back, saying that's what crewmates are for. Overwhelmed by the wholesome vibes, our hero starts crying, tears of joy agreeing with her. But the mood instantly darkens. Cookie senses his sister's mana nearby. Kyugi starts panicking, knowing this means massive trouble is incoming. Cookie decides to rush to his sister, and tells the squad to evacuate to their world immediately. But two new enemies block the path, warning that they aren't going anywhere. Our hero is caught off guard, not expecting more bosses to spawn out of thin air. The girl Naroko snaps a selfie, mocking how her ally got completely KO'd. Kyugi is furious at the disrespect and screams, asking who the hell these clowns are. The skeleton Hyobi says names don't matter because they're all about to die. Cookie feels their power level, and the villains tell them to accept their death without hard feelings. The girl smirks menacingly, asking if they really thought they could interrupt the ritual. Worried, our hero squares up the sigil flaring in his hand. Just then, little Kyugi stomps the ground, triggering his own ultimate. He generates an absolute barrier, locking the two villains inside a cage. He screams for Cookie to make a run for it while they tank the aggro. Cookie hesitates, hating the idea of abandoning his team, but Kanai screams at him to go. reminding him that saving his sister is the priority. He locks in, makes up his mind, and with a fierce look, gives his friends a nod of gratitude. The gap Kyugi opened in the barrier only stays up for a few seconds, but it's enough for our hero to blast through. He flies past the blockade, but the villainess yells that he's not escaping. She fires a blast of flame, but a voice cuts in. Not today. Kanai and Kyugi step up, announcing that the villains have to go through them first. The skeleton finds this annoying, and the girl laughs, doubting they can actually win. Kyugi admits that normally they wouldn't stand a ghost of a chance. He asks Kanai if she feels the surge too, and she nods immediately. See Cookie's skill. The light of salvation isn't selfish, it's a power that gives. The mages he copies get a direct line to his infinite mana supply. Kyugi braces himself, screaming that he'll take every drop of power Ikuta is sharing. Kanai overflows with energy. He roars a warning that nobody better lay a finger on Kuki. Amidst the chaos, Kuki rockets forward, carving a path of absolute destruction in his wake. But out of nowhere, a freakish aberration manifests. A dragon made of pure crimson energy blocks his path. He instantly realizes this situation is getting sketchy. Time to get serious. He triggers the power in his hand, Light of Salvation, infusing every single one of his spells with a blinding holy attribute. Even as he unleashes his assault, Kuki senses the vibes are off in this battle. He can feel the faint resonance of his sister's mana, but he can't bridge the gap to reach her. Then it hits him. She's stuck with Mobius Naruko and that skeleton guy, Mobius Hyobi. He realizes Kanai, Momo, and Kyugi are holding the line, buying them time. The camera cuts to Mobius Naruko, dropping a toxic taunt, asking the skeleton which one of them needs to die first. Suddenly, Sagai Tetsu crashes the party, leaving Suzaki Irori completely shook to see. They're facing off against 3 enemies. Sumon Seijuro is losing it, demanding to know what the hell Sagai is doing here. Sagai just clenches his fist, and flashes back to the incident from the other day. We cut to the medical center, right when he was running those tests. That's when it happened. He felt a creeping, eerie presence breathing down his neck, followed by a surge of dark energy erupting from his arm for the very first time. He explains that deep inside that void, a malevolent entity was lying in wait for him. That's where the person who cursed him is hiding, and that's why he's rushing in to settle the score. Suzaki Irori gasps at the word, and stammers, asking if he means an actual curse. Mobius Naruko flashes a wicked grin, and confirms he nailed it, sending a chill through everyone. Behind her, the Phantom Beast doll rises, a terrifying triple S rank monster. Mobius strikes a confident pose, totally engulfed in a blazing red aura. The resonance hits Sagai hard. He feels the curse flare up, clutching his chest in agony. She reveals this girl wields the ultimate curse, and Sagai demands to know why he was targeted. Mobius drops the lore bomb. She saw the future, a timeline where his world was overrun by mana and monsters. Sumon Seijuro turns ghost white, realizing she's describing the apocalypse. But she keeps going, explaining that in that doomed future, there was one guy who was a massive problem. Then, she points a finger straight at Sagai. It was him. He was so insanely strong it was terrifying, so she had to nerf him with a curse. That way, 5 years down the line, his combat power would be capped, leaving him vulnerable. Suzaki Irori is reeling from the revelation, mind blown by the insanity of it all. She starts spiraling, regretting that she couldn't save him. Meanwhile, Kuki seems to piece the puzzle together. Mobius mocks Sagai, laughing that her mere presence amps up the curse's pain. Sumon Seijuro reads the room and orders Sagai to retreat immediately. Suddenly, Kyugi triggers his absolute barrier, blindsiding the enemies with his technique. Sumon shouts a warning that Dome is on lockdown until someone inside gets knocked out cold. With a smirk, Mobius Naruko realizes they're forcing a split-up strategy. Kyugi shoots an apology to Sagai, admitting that even with Kuki's raw power, this fight is a nightmare. Kuki knows that taking on both villains simultaneously would be suicide for him and Kanai. So he tells Sagai he's leaving the skeleton to him while he handles the rest. The skeleton, Mobius Hyobi, wastes 0 time and unsheathes his katana to start the duel. Sagai counters, manifesting a blade of blue energy, and they clash violently. The impact of their blades triggers a massive shockwave, a swirling vortex of red and blue auras. Even with the curse draining him, Sagai manages to parry the skeleton's strike, using his absurd brute strength. Mobius Hyobi is actually impressed, offering a warning out of respect for his skill. He explains his blade is a magic breaker. 1 scratch means game over. The threat is real if that steel touches skin. It's instant death. Sagai tenses up. Meanwhile, Mobius triggers some ancient magic, wearing a cocky smile. The technique unfolds, and the giant doll snaps open, a massive cursed eye staring right at them. The mechanic is simple: lock eyes with the doll, and your body disintegrates under the curse. Instantly, Kanai and Kyugi get caught in the gaze, dark energy ensnaring them. Mobius taunts them, asking if it stings, and telling them to just give up and perish. But Kyugi doesn't flinch. With a primal roar, he brute forces his way out of the curse's grip. The villain is stunned the curse failed, but he explains the cheat code. His body is just a clay construct, a vessel with zero biological form. Kyugi checks if Kanai can still throw hands, and she confirms with gritty determination. She casts Healing Phoenix Fireball, summoning a fiery bird to burn away the curse. Mobius is in disbelief, wondering how she possibly dispelled it. Kanai explains she used to be unable to heal herself, but thanks to Akuta, she's leveled up. The villain finds this amusing and decides to switch to brute force, ordering her triple S rank monster to unleash a full power assault. Kyugi yells for Kanai to dump her entire mana pool into an attack, while he preps a boulder. She focuses, desperate to be an asset to Kuki in this war. Kyugi remembers his promise to hold the line. And a real man never breaks his word. Kanai combines her skills, launching a colossal inferno vortex straight at the monster. Kuki unleashes the absolute barrier slab breaker. One strike, and that rock is dust. The attacks collide, triggering a massive screen-shaking explosion. The blast swallows the enemy whole. When the smoke finally clears, the monster is finished, and Mobius Naruko hits the dirt completely drained. Kanai and a totally gassed Kuki are the last ones standing. Victory is theirs amidst the wreckage on the far side of the barrier. Mobius Hyobi realizes the game is up for Naruko. Meanwhile, Sumon Seijiro drops a quick apology to Kuki, telling him, "I'm leaving the rest to you, man." Kuki flashes a grin, thanking him. He admits he hasn't felt this kind of light coursing through his veins in ages. Sumon tells him to quit holding back. And right on cue, Sage steps up, ready to flex the raw power of humanity's strongest warrior. Mobius Hyobi decides to hit the reset button, summoning a squad of freaky monsters to swarm them. Kanai Momo sees the creeps and instantly freaks out. She screams, "What the heck are those things?" But Sage, he doesn't even flinch. He just locks in. He preps a special move and activates absolute water temperature. Boom, he hits the enemy mob with overwhelming force. In a split second, the air turns to ice and every single monster is obliterated. Suzaki Irori's jaw hits the floor. She calls Sage's power insane. Sumon breaks it down. The dude controls moisture, letting him freeze or scorch anything in his radius. The skeleton realizes how terrifying that is. Water is in everything alive, but he charges in anyway. He screams that he's immune since he's bone dry. The fight is back on, and they collide in a spectacular display of swordsmanship. The skeleton taunts him, claiming the magic is useless. Sage just replies, "Then I'll just chop you up." Suddenly, they're trading blows at supersonic speeds. Steel clashes in midair. Mobius Hyobi is actually stunned, admitting the title, Strongest, isn't just hype. But he remembers Sagai is mere mortal and launches a lethal drop attack. Sagai sidesteps it like it's nothing. The skeleton can't believe he missed. He brags that his finishing blade is an insta-kill. One touch is all it takes. Even a scratch means game over. With total arrogance, the skeleton warns he won't miss twice. Sagai stays quiet for a beat, then announces, "Time to get serious." The skeleton looks skeptical. Sagai acknowledges the skeleton is dry, but drops a bombshell. "But I am full of water." A blazing aura erupts around him. Eyes locked in, Sagai revs up a brand new ability. He drops into a stance, steam pouring off his skin. The skeleton is shook, stammering in disbelief. "What the hell are you doing?" he demands. Suddenly, Sagai is engulfed in boiling crimson energy. It clicks for the skeleton. "Are you boiling your own blood?" Sagai confirms it. This boost makes him 3 times stronger. It's a short fuse, though. He warns the skeleton, "I'm ending this right now." He launches forward with everything he has. The skeleton is terrified. Sagai is moving so fast he's glitching out of sight. Desperation sets in. He can't even track the blade. Panic hits as he realizes this is a whole new level of power. He tries to turtle up, thinking his only option is to block the onslaught. Suzaki screams, "He's too fast." Even Kuki admits he can't see a thing. The clash continues at breakneck velocity. Sparks fly like fireworks. Mobius Hyobi watches in awe, praising Sagai's god-tier sword control. He calls it a true masterpiece of blade work. Sagai stays on the gas, giving his opponent zero breathing room. Suddenly, the skeleton spots a gap and lunges, but it's a trap. It's already over. In a blink, Sagai teleports behind him, sword prepped. The strike is so clean it takes the skeleton's head off instantly. Even the skeleton thinks, magnificent. His headless body collapses, and the battle finally comes to a halt. But the crash is hard. Sagai's power fades as exhaustion hits him like a truck. Suzaki Irori stares shocked. She realizes this is what rank number 1 looks like. Kuki is speechless, admitting it was wildly impressive. Sagai asks if they can mobilize, but Kanai says they need a minute. Suddenly, a massive, bizarre creature crashes the party. Everyone jumps. But Sagai, he doesn't hesitate. He hits his skill and deep freezes the beast instantly. He calls it a thank you gift for lifting the curse earlier. Kuki raises an eyebrow. He comments that being nice doesn't suit the ice-cold guy. Cut to Kuki hovering in midair. Face grim, he realizes that even with the barrier smashed, the vibes are still off. The deeper he goes, the further away his sister's mana feels. He clocks it. This has to be a trap skill. A labyrinth designed to trap them. His solution, simple. shatter the whole maze with light magic. It works, but the reveal is a nightmare. His sister is lying on a creepy altar. Kuki looks down, devastated. He screams her name in horror. A mysterious voice congratulates him but drops the bad news. The ritual is almost done. Consumed by blinding rage, Kuki goes berserk, screaming at the top of his lungs for them to hand over his sister immediately. He blasts a massive beam of light, but the adversary just smirks. Wrapped in a crimson aura, the villain tanks the hit head-on like it's nothing. But then the dark energy starts pulsing weirdly. Kuki freezes, realizing his heavy hitter isn't even scratching this guy. Suddenly, the impact reverses. The villain stares down at him, revealing he just pulled a total Uno reverse card on Kuki's attack. Slammed to the dirt, Kuki spots Mickey laid out on a ritual altar and screams demanding answers. Then a cold voice cuts in. That girl isn't his sister. With a twisted grin, the villain drops a bombshell. She actually belongs to them. She's their little sister. Kuki is stunned into silence brain, trying to compute this madness. Out of nowhere, a familiar voice echoes in his head. He jolts, it's Mickey's voice, but is it really her, or is he losing his mind? Even the enemy flinches, realizing she's awake. Inside his mind, Mickey thanks Kuki for coming, and says she's sorry for the mess. Then comes the heavy truth. She was a member of the Mobius organization all along. Cue the tragic flashback. Mickey explains Mobius was a squad of 5 elite warriors, and she served as the rookie of the group. Their job, acting as wardens of the underworld, keeping the monster population in check. But they also weaponized those beasts, deploying them to invade and conquer other dimensions. Over time, the guilt started eating her alive. She couldn't just blindly follow orders anymore. Mickey started asking the real questions. Was destroying other worlds actually justice? The screams from the abyss haunted her until she snapped. One day, she decided to confront the squad about the morality of their crusade. The leader just smiled, that creepy smile, telling her to stop overthinking and just be a good soldier. But Mickey stood her ground, screaming she was done with the bloodshed. That's when Jinji backhanded her across the room. He told her to shut her trap and do her job. The rest of the crew surrounded her, chanting about their loyalty to him. The leader dropped the nice act, warning that betrayal is a death sentence. Young Mickey lay there paralyzed by pure terror. Cornered and alone, Mickey realized she had one option: run for her life. She grabbed the Tome of Regression, her ticket out of hell, and warped to a peaceful dimension, leaving the darkness behind. She washed up on a sunny road in a totally new world, finally free. Exhaustion took over, and she blacked out only to be found by a kind woman, Kuki's future mom. The flashback warms up, showing the woman taking in this mysterious runaway without hesitation. They clicked instantly, forming a bond deeper than blood. It was real mother-daughter energy. She raised Mickey with unconditional love. Then a massive surprise changed the game. Her adoptive mom gave birth to a baby boy. Little Kuki entered the chat. Mickey was over the moon. She didn't want a cold title like Mobius member. She wanted a home. A true family held together by genuine love, not orders and fear. Mickey admits every single day since Kuki was born has been a blessing. Cue the wholesome montage. Mom reading bedtime stories and teenage Mickey walking her baby brother to school hand in hand. Even simple stuff like water gun fights felt like the most precious moments of her life. She thanks him for the smiles and for finally giving her a place where she belonged. We see little Kuki's innocent grin one last time before cutting back to the present, where adult Kuki is sobbing his heart out. Lying on the altar, she whispers that he's grown into a fine man, begs him to flee before it's too late. She warns him that Roku is a monster, but Kuki screams no, he's not leaving because of what she taught him. Flashback to big sis Mickey telling him, if you never give up, there's nothing you can't do. Eyes burning with determination, Kuki swears he's not walking out of there without her. He flares up a massive blue aura screaming we are going home until Roku cuts him off. Roku sneers, calling this a private family matter and telling him to zip it, but Kuki ignores him, clasping his hands together. He charges up every ounce of energy, firing a blinding pure white laser directly at Roku's face. Reflected again, the blast slams Kuki into the dirt. He realizes he can't go full power without accidentally nuking his sister. He tries to speed blitz, teleporting behind the enemy for a sneak attack, but it's useless. His beam gets bounced back again. Kuki finally clocks the horror. Every light attack he throws is just a boomerang of pain. Realizing the direct approach is a bust, he flips the script and unleashes his lockdown ability, Binding Grasp. Blazing meteors scream through the air toward Roku, but the guy doesn't even flinch. He just stands there tanking it, reflecting the blast right back into Kuki's face. Kuki eats the dirt, screaming as the impact tears through him, while Roku stares him down with a god complex, asking if he finally gets that he's untouchable. Our hero is scrambling to figure out the logic behind this broken ability, convinced there's a trick. But here's the kicker. No matter how hard he analyzes, he can't copy the skill. Roku flashes a sinister grin, taunting him that spamming attacks is only going to speed up his own demise. The villain drops the hammer, silencing the battlefield to announce the ritual is hitting its finale. Kuki snaps, screaming for answers about what kind of nightmare they're dragging his sister into. Roku finally spills the tea. They aren't just draining her. They're resurrecting the Great Wizard, bringing Zero back to this timeline. Totally lost, Cookie demands an explanation only to learn that Zero isn't just some guy, he's the progenitor mage. We're talking about the original magic user and the mastermind behind the Mobius organization. But history played a cruel joke, and Zero's existence was completely erased from the timeline. That's why they've been obsessing over regression magic, the forbidden itchy art of rewinding the clock. With that time-bending juice, they can essentially reboot Zero's soul. Roku drops another bomb. Mickey actually stole this power, and while he wonders who she wasted it on, it doesn't matter, because her body is still radiating with residual energy. She's literally a living battery now, a vessel for Zero's return. Panic sets in, and Cookie begs to know what happens to his sister once the big boss wakes up. Roku's smile turns absolutely demonic as he confirms the obvious: she's going to be deleted. Because traitors don't get a retirement plan. Cookie freezes, paralyzed by the sheer horror of the situation. He knows he has to drop Roku to save her, but something's happening to Mickey. Out of nowhere, he spots a glitch, a strange mark, pulsing on his sister's left hand. He locks onto that insignia, and a light bulb goes off in his head, but he hesitates, terrified that one wrong move ends everything. Still, he decides to bet the farm on this hunch, channeling every ounce of his aura into his palm. The energy condenses, forging a sacred blade of blinding white light. Roku laughs it off, mocking him for still trying to fight, reminding him that damage is impossible. But mid-laugh, the villain's smug face twists into pure, unadulterated shock. Cookie isn't aiming for him. He strikes his own reflection in what turns out to be an invisible barrier. The impact shatters reality, like a pane of glass cracking the illusion to reveal the real Mickey trapped behind it. Panicking, Roku lunges to intercept Cookie, but the jagged shards of the mirror wall block his path, leaving him screaming in rage. Cookie phases right through the shattered dimension. Eyes burning with determination, his attack rips through the mirror world and lands a critical hit on the real Roku, drawing first blood. Cookie stands tall, declaring with ice-cold focus that his trip to the mirror dimension is officially over. Clutching his wound, Roku demands to know how he saw through the perfect illusion. Cookie breaks it down. His sister's insignia is always on her right hand, but in the reflection it was on her left. And since his copy ability was glitching out, he realized Roku wasn't using a skill at all. He had preset a physical trap. To keep himself invincible, Cookie realized he was stuck in a ricochet room, a mirrored cage, and the only way to win was to find the exit and smash it to pieces, just like the labyrinth puzzle. Roku nods in defeat as Cookie confirms he aimed for Mickey because the exit had to be the one place Roku wouldn't defend. Bleeding out, Roku admits he got outplayed, but smirks that it's game over anyway. Suddenly, a terrifying frequency vibrates through the air, catching Cookie off guard. We cut to the squad outside, feeling the earth tremble beneath them. Cookie rushes to grab his sister, but Roku announces that the apocalypse clock has already struck midnight. He claims this reality is about to crumble, sending Cookie into a spiral of despair as he cradles Mickey. Roku twists the knife, blaming Cookie's own magical overflow for this mess. Apparently, Cookie's world is so mana-rich, it's like a beacon for an invasion. A massive surge of energy erupts from Mickey, and Roku screams in triumph that Zero is returning. With a maniacal laugh, the villain confirms the resurrection is a done deal. Outside, the team stares at the sky in confusion as reality warps. Cookie and Mickey are suddenly engulfed by the energy wave. As Rory screams his name in terror, back on the ground, panic takes over as the squad watches them dissolve. Just then, a void portal rips open, sucking Cookie, Mickey, and the whole crew into the abyss. The scene fades up to a desolate wasteland of ruins, where a mysterious figure lies in the dust. Nearby, a hand reaches out toward Roku's defeated, motionless body. A blond man rises from the debris, grumbling that waking up is always a pain. He checks his own hand, sensing a familiar wavelength nearby. An insignia flares to life on his palm, and he muses that he might not be the only one. He realizes this new presence is wielding the power of creation. A shadowy entity manifests, speaking with a chilling voice to the horde of monsters gathering around. The beasts stare back, radiating pure aggression. The entity asks if they're hyped for his awakening. In response, the monster horde lets out a deafening roar that shakes the heavens. Pure malice and instinct drive them. Yet this guy actually applauds the beasts, musing on how timeless their savagery is. They feast on mana like it's oxygen slaves to their hunger. Meanwhile, our battered hero lets out a shaky breath, grateful to be conscious. But reality hits hard. He remembers the civilians, and his expression twists into pure rage. At that moment, the blonde entity charges up a mystic seal blazing in his palm. He sneers, calling the creatures repulsive, and wipes them from existence in a heartbeat. The scene cuts to a quiet home, the front door creaking open. Cookie's mom is pacing anxiously until he and Mickey step into the frame. The boy flashes a tired smile, announcing his return, shattering her composure. She nearly trips over her own feet, rushing forward to crush them both in a desperate embrace. In a flashback, Mickey pours her heart out, thanking Cookie for everything. He tries to apologize for dragging her through hell, Solo, but she cuts him off. She doesn't care about the risk. All that matters is that her big brother is safe and sound. Miki admits. She underestimated just how capable he'd become. Kuki's face hardens, the looming apocalypse weighing on his mind, echoing Roku's dark prophecy. Memory replay Roku mocking their struggle, warning that the gears of fate are unstoppable, with a sadistic glint in his eyes as he predicts the world's demise. Then he drops the bomb on Miki. This is all on her. Her overflowing mana saturated their reality with abnormal energy, painting a giant target on Earth for invaders. It clicks for Kuki. He stands frozen, drowning in guilt, blaming himself for the chaos, while Miki observes his internal struggle. She breaks the silence, confessing she suppressed her skill to hide from Roku. But thanks to his actions, her power has reawakened, the crest glowing vibrant on her wrist. Kuki eyes the ancient magic nervously, but she assures him it's under control. Curiosity piqued, he asks what it does. Her answer, it bends time, space, and life itself. She stands tall, ready to demonstrate exactly what a god-tier ability looks like. Focusing on a withered plant in a vase, ethereal gears manifest around her handproof. She commands the flow of time. As she makes contact, the plant revitalizes instantly. She explains it works on anything she touches. Kuki is absolutely floored, and she drops the kicker. It works on monsters too. Her eyes lock with determination. She's finally ready to join the front lines. Staring at his big sister, totally moved by her resolve, Kuki grips her hand firmly, offering his silent strength. He looks her dead in the eye. You are not doing this alone. Tears well up in Miki's eyes, as she asks him to help her save the world. Hearing her conviction, his own resolve skyrockets. With a confident smirk, he's all in. The scene shifts to a grand hall where Kuki addresses a packed room. The crowd buzzes with whispers about the kid who soloed multiple numbers. He steps up, introducing himself as the licensed mage. Ikuta Kuki, the one from the prophecy. Voice dripping with conviction, he drops a bombshell on the audience. The end of the world is here. He commands the room, explaining that this gathering isn't a celebration, it's a declaration of war. While the crowd reels in shock, Kuki unveils the new 7 saviors. First up, the elegant powerhouse, Igawa Himika. Next is Kanai Momo, clutching a tiny summon. The feisty little beast Kyugi scowls at the audience. Then there's Suzaki Irori, casually munching on snacks, flashing a cocky grin to the masses. Ikuta Miki steps into the lineup, followed by the final member, the imposing tank Sagai Tetsu. The squad assembles with Kuki at the helm. He points a thumb at his chest and screams that he is going to save this planet. The crowd erupts, chanting his name, pinning all their hopes on him. But Kuki clenches his fist, cutting the celebration short. It's not enough. The cheers die down into confusion, as he admits the 7 of them can't win this alone. He roars that, without everyone's combined strength, the apocalypse is inevitable. Watching via giant screens, civilians feel helpless. Seeing this, Kuki breaks the fourth wall, getting real with them, demanding they stop the pity party. He shouts with every ounce of his soul, "You are the true saviors." Kanai Momo watches him stunned by the kid's guts. It works, the crowd catches fire, realizing they have skills to contribute. Kuki smiles at the shifting energy, knowing that united, they can actually face doomsday. Suddenly, the air turns heavy with malice. Kuki's instincts scream danger, as a civilian shrieks in terror. The sky tears open, riddling the heavens with portals spewing out monsters. The invasion is live. S-rank nightmares descend instantly. Kuki is rattled by the blitzkrieg speed, but Sagai doesn't flinch. Sword drawn and aura flaring, he vows to wipe every single one of them off the map. A massive water dragon manifests roaring as it prepares to nuke the incoming wave. Kuki steels himself for the fight of his life. He drops the cold hard truth. The mission hasn't shifted 1 inch. With the squad fully assembled, the saviors flex their massive auras, the air crackling with energy as they lock in for the fight of their lives. Surging with absolute god-tier power, he lets out a feral roar, swearing he's going to shut every single one of them down right here, right now.